stream. Well,
Not
actually,
just that. Yeah, not just that, but it's half the year is already over. I mean, I just realized that when I saw a video and they said, yeah, it was the one meme where they always have there something is going on that sounds very positive and then it breaks down and becomes something super negative, and then there is this footballer that he must have had a speech or something like that where he says they really got us in the first half, and that's like the meme, and they said this with the year 2020, and I noticed, well, really, yeah, the first half is over.
Yeah, I know. And it's like we spent the better part of the first half of the year cooped up, and
Yep.
We are live.
Even though these days things are pretty much back to normal. Besides wearing the mask, I don't really feel much of a difference anymore. You see just as much people out there at work. The weirdest thing is that when I came after the 6 months that we had off, or 7 weeks where I didn't work, and came back, at the first week everyone didn't shake hands or did anything. They kept a little bit, and now people are getting close, shaking hands again. And I mean, you should still keep a little bit distance. I don't get why not.
Yeah, and that's what my thing has been.
It's not over yet.
Right. And so what I ended up doing was I'll just do like the Vulcan thing. That's my COVID greeting, so I don't have to touch anyone. But that way they know, okay, this guy is comfortable enough to show his nerdiness around us. So that says something, At least that's my thought process.
I would kind of like just to flip them off sometimes.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, there's let's see. We've got one thing we could talk about a little bit more too as we get more people in. But I got a new headset finally. Finally got a new headset.
I didn't notice, yeah. It's still a Logitech though, right?
It is still a Logitech. It's the G935 wireless. So it's like the great grandchild of the one that I had before, but like the battery just kept like I charged the battery in my old ones like all night. And it's a third-party battery, but I charged it and it died within an hour after charging it all night. And so I was like, that's it. I'm done.
Does this one still have a replaceable battery?
Yes. So it's either.
I mean, I've used the 930 or 933. I don't know, but I never actually reviewed the 935.
935s are pretty good. They're
maybe
big.
I did. Let me actually check.
Well, they don't have like the strap, the comfort strap.
Yeah. But from the number, it sounds like I did review it, but I know that I didn't review the most recent G900. So no.
Yeah, this one is I think the most recent one. It was the one that Best Buy had. So
because I know there was a point where I didn't have access to Logitech devices. And then it came back, and that was when this one was released. Let me check which one it was.
One thing that
was 933. I had the 933. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, and like, did the 933 also have like so this one on this side is where I can store the dongle.
This looks a lot like the 933. It looks a little bit more sleek on the headband side, but the shell itself looks pretty much the same. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I basically leave off all the LEDs because apparently like it's like a 2-hour battery life difference.
What are the pads? Is it leather or is it still this kind of mesh?
It's leather or pleather. Yeah, because it's significantly nicer.
Because I think the one that I had was like a fabric. Not quite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because the ones that I had before were kind of like a pleather, and so like the top layer kind of flaked off, and then I know that a lot of the cabled versions I've seen come back were like fabric, and then they have these, and so I just was happy to get these, and happy to have a boom mic that works.
How much was it?
It was like 120, 125, 120, something like that. I will say I'm not super impressed with the mic. Like here, let me
it's 144 here. Yeah, I don't get the mics. I mean, I've seen a review of the creative that I had, but the newer version now of theater gaming, something like that, and they said the mic is pretty good, and it was okay on the old one where I had it, but I don't get why so many, especially the wireless ones, sound so bad, because today I actually where is it? Here. Because what I'm reviewing right now is a Bluetooth transmitter from Creative, and they packed in this little mic.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to be used with a PS4 controller. So just plug that in. You can use your headset with Bluetooth, and this and this actually doesn't sound bad. I mean, it sounds a little bit muffled, but it's a very clean signal and it sounds good. So I don't get if it's possible to have something as small with solid sound. It can't be that hard to make it wireless.
Right. Well, and so right now I'm talking through this mic, and it generally, from what I've heard, it sounds like it sounds terrible. And then here's my regular mic. So this is like a okay, I need to get up from my desk, but still need to talk to someone. But like basically most of the time, it's staying up there.
No, because go on.
No.
Because just recently, I think like 2 or 3 days ago, someone commented, I don't know which was, but it was a wireless gaming headset, and it said it's so sad that there seems still to be no headset with a good sound. He says you can get everything, but usually it's always the mic that's bad. And I said, yes, especially on the wireless ones. I have not really reviewed one that had a good one. The Creative ones were actually pretty solid, but the worst thing was when I had the Astro Gaming A40 was the wired version. Mic sounded actually surprisingly good. And then I had the A50, which is almost the same, but then it's a wireless version, and it sounded like crap. And I don't get it. I mean, that's a $300 headset, and it still sounds bad.
Well, I will say, too, another thing about this headset is I found the wireless range to be disappointing compared to the previous one I had.
Someone told me the same. Yeah.
Like it's a significant downgrade in terms of the wireless range and wall penetration. The one before came with a dongle that had like an extender that it would sit in.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
And this one is just straight up, you just plug it in.
But I would like to know why. Did they maybe make it shorter, maybe the signal better, or is it? Because someone told me the same. He was pretty pissed because he said I didn't know that before and so on. And I said, I really usually review my wireless headsets, and I'm in a range within 2 or 3 meters because the room isn't big enough to be far away. But he said pretty much the same, and it was also a Logitech. I think it was already the 933 that had that issue. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that the 933 the 935 is that big of an upgrade over the 933.
No,
I understand.
I don't think so.
So, but it's like, it's what I know. I liked it, and I just got fed up, and this is what Best Buy had in stock that was the highest quality. So I was like, okay, let's just go with this, So it turned out pretty okay then. By the way, hey Webster, good seeing you. Thanks for joining us, and thank you guys for joining us. So I know we're kind of getting a slow start here, but that's because I kind of was just like impromptu. Let's do it. Let's get this going. I wanted to thank you, Damir, for being so flexible and being able to just hop on. I messaged you like right before I went to bed. So
it's not really being flexible. It's just that I don't really have much to do, especially on a Sunday. Because today when I woke up pretty early at 7 a.m. and didn't really want to get to sleep either anymore. So I woke up, and then I listened to music for a long time, like 3 or 4 hours. Then I don't know. I watched a little bit of YouTube, and then So I didn't really plan much because I had a pretty busy week. So yeah.
There's, by the way, hey Vascos, thank you for joining us. There's it's been my week has been fairly busy, but then this next week I'm going to be going down. I'm taking it off early. So we had Friday off, so we have a 3-day weekend, which has been nice. And we've just been listening to our neighbors shooting off fireworks illegally. So that's nice. But we ended up it was actually kind of funny. What was it on Thursday? I had some dental work done. I had like a couple fillings done, and they accidentally nicked my tongue with the drill bit, and I couldn't feel my face because they had to do like 5 shots to get me to And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we kind of nicked your tongue there." I'm like,
"So
no problem." So like they have the little drill, and like my tongue wasn't quite getting out of the way because I couldn't feel my tongue.
Yeah, but what happens then?
Like, what do you mean?
What happens with your tongue at that moment?
Oh, like it was just kind of over the side. And they were moving the drill, and it kind of went, and just kind of the spinny part kind of just nicked me a little bit, and so it's like I bit my tongue pretty bad. So if I start talking like this, and you know that you know why. But
I have some issues with my teeth for like half a year already. Can't get it really fixed because I don't know what it's called, but my tooth is not sticking out, but there is not enough of the flesh, and it's a little bit open. And until they gave me like I think 5 treatments where they put on something over it, so it kind of is supposed to heal a little bit. But I couldn't drink anything, and when I brush my teeth at the morning and take the water, it hurts so bad, and it's still not that good. I'm not quite sure, and they don't really know how to fix it just yet. And for the last week, my jaw at the bottom on the right side kind of hurts, but I'm not quite sure if it's the flesh or if it's the jaw itself. So pretty odd thing.
Well, and I was having originally why I went to the dentist originally was because I had some a sore tooth right here. Whenever I bite down, I was like, "Ooh, it stings," And I thought, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to have like a root canal." Oh no! Turns out that particular tooth, it was sinuses. I had allergies really bad, and when they inflame, they're right below the root of your tooth in your upper jaw.
Yeah, but teeth are something very weird. Recently, someone told me that he had a friend and he complained about. I'm not 100% sure what it was, but I think he had headaches all the time, or maybe back pain. I'm not quite so sure. And he went to doctors and they tried everything. They didn't know what it was. And then he went to something like not really like a quacky or like an odd doctor, but someone who's more like into spiritual stuff. And he checked him. He checked him and he went and he said to him, "Do you have this pain at this point and this and this and this?" And he said, "Yeah, exactly that. It's your tooth." And he checked and he said, "It's this tooth. Remove it and everything will be fine." He went to the dentist. Dentist said, "I'm not going to remove it. This tooth is absolutely fine. There is nothing inside." And the pain didn't go away. And at some point, they actually did remove the tooth and it was gone. But
really?
But I have no idea how that weird doctor actually knew his symptoms without the one telling him noticed that issue, because he said he moved like something. He had like really something. What's it called? If you have the stick and you kind of search for water.
I'm sure I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he did this around his face, and then this way he found it. And usually when someone tells me something like this, I said, "Yeah, that's absolutely not true." But they removed the tooth and it's fine, even though nothing intended that something was wrong there at this point. I mean, it's so odd that, yeah, it's
that's funny. It's like your issue is pretty serious whenever like the spiritual doctor's like, "Okay, you need to go do something with your tooth."
Yeah, but just think about it. Maybe they remove it and nothing changed, and you remove the fine tooth. So yeah, but maybe it's sometimes really worth the risk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say
holistic doctor. Might be.
Yeah, holistic doctor. Yeah, thank you, Webster.
Yeah, I'm not even sure right now what's it called in German, so I'm for sure don't know. But yeah, holistic sounds right. That might be something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There's gosh. That is kind of interesting to see, though. There's, I'm traditionally not been a very I hate going to the dentist, mainly because I just, the grinding and drilling is what gets me. And I was like, maybe I'll just take some earplugs. And I'm like, no, that makes me hear and feel the drilling even more in my skull.
There was actually a time, I think, from like 16 to 26 or something around that, for like 10 years I didn't go to the dentist at all until I think I had had my wisdom teeth out, and since then I go maybe like every 2 or 3 years, so not something super regular. I don't do the yearly cleaning all that much, but they told me that I have a good base, so my teeth aren't the best ones, but they are fine considering how little I actually treat them.
Right. Yeah, it's like mine were generally pretty good, but it's one of those things where I didn't go for like to the dentist for like a year.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those, and I went for my cleaning, and luckily it's just I haven't really gone to the dentist because I haven't had a job until my current job that has had really good dental coverage. So like, what was it? My cleaning, because I get 2 free cleanings a year, and then my 2 fillings that I had were like $153 after my insurance, which was really nice, as opposed to like, because it would have been like, what was it, like 300 or more otherwise.
Yeah, see, the thing here is that if you have insurance, I think you pay like maybe, I don't know, someone told me that you pay such and such, but if you get to 2 cleanings a year, it almost pays off. It's a little bit that you still pay. I don't have that, but whatever they do with your teeth is doesn't cost you anything. But once they have to replace a tooth or something, it gets crazy expensive. But I guess it's even worse in the US. But I mean, I don't know why insurance covers everything but not teeth, because they say you treat them bad, therefore they are bad. But if you break your leg, it's something different. But
it's kind of like he could say the same thing with hearing, where if like you just blast your ears and
but they can't really,
but
they can't really prove it that you wrecked it. You could just say a car came, or someone shot someone so super close to me, so they can't really tell you. But with the teeth, they see if they are treated well.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but dentists make a lot of money. That's for sure.
For good reason too. Like, oh man, I will say but
I get that they make money. But if I hear people saying that they went to their doctor, he made them they told him a price of like, let's say 5,000 euros for like, I don't know how many teeth, and then they went to Turkey. Because there was one colleague of mine, his wife got, I think, like, because they screwed something up, and they made, I think, like 11 teeth for 600 euros. You don't even get 1.5 tooth here for that price, or maybe somewhere in Eastern Europe. You get them so much cheaper than in Germany, but the German doctors actually get their teeth made in Eastern Europe, so it's the same quality. So that's such a big ripoff.
Yeah, I mean,
someone also told me that was super interesting, but that was already like 10 years ago. His sister was in Singapore on something like a job trip and so on, and she had issues with her tooth, and they said they had to replace it, and they did something a little bit, and they did like a 3D scanning of the tooth already back then. And she said, okay, when do I have to come back to get the tooth? And they said, you don't have to come again, just wait half an hour, it will be printed out, it will be done in half an hour, we can replace it. It's that fast these days, and that was 10 years ago.
On the fillings too. So traditionally, I was looking it up because I was like, okay, do I need to like not eat or or anything for this to cure? And like the old silver fillings, you'd have to wait 24 hours, which sucked. But with the new ones that are like resin, they just use a UV light and cure it like right there. And I'm like, damn, that's just the coolest damn thing ever that they do that so quickly.
Yeah, I don't have silver or gold because my brother had a couple of gold ones. I only have the new ones, but I think I have like 3 fillings. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have like 3 or 4. One of them was done without anesthetic. That was when I was in high school, and I had a date that night, and I wanted to be able to feel her face with my face without drooling all over her because my face would be numb. I'm glad that didn't work out, but let's say I would never do that again.
What was pretty brutal with the one tooth that I have that is so a little bit like very sensitive. They take the cold air, and they wanted to know which one it is, and they say, is it this one? I said, no. Is it this one? No. And then they hit the right one, and I thought I would cry. It was so extreme. I didn't expect it to hurt that much with cold air. That was
Well, and like the worst part of fillings is if they get down and they're like close to your nerve, and that's
I never had that though.
Lucky man.
So I see you are talking about Ace Combat 7. Is this the most recent one?
Yeah, I think so. Let me pull it up.
Because when I remember, I think on the PS1 or so, it felt like I already played Ace Combat 3. So not a lot has happened since then, but I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I haven't played since
it's on Steam. It's on sale on Steam right now for $19.17 for the basic version and $28 for the deluxe version. Those Ace Combat games are just a lot of fun. So like I tend to go a little more semi, but like I remember playing the original on PlayStation 1.
Yeah, that one I know, but I think that was pretty much my last one.
Well, like it's sad to say, my last one was Air Combat. It was before they changed it to Ace Combat. So like it was the one that was horrifically terrible in just about most ways, but I had enjoyed the crap out of that game. That was my first PlayStation game I ever had. So, it's on Xbox Game Pass. I have that. So I need to actually.
You have that, really?
Yeah, I have the Xbox Game Pass.
Is this for PC games as well? Oh,
yeah. So it's like $5 a month.
Oh,
it's really cheap. So like games that I play like are
and you can play all the games they have for free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
it's like for $5 a month. It comes like you can do the Master Chief Collection. You can like the Master Chief Collection. I have a Sea of Thieves is the other one I have. There's Astroneer. There's I guess Ace Combat, which I need to install.
So are those pretty new games or older ones?
Pretty new. Like there's stand by.
Because from what I've heard, the Xbox Series X seems to be the big selling point, that they have this Game Pass. From what I've heard.
The nice thing for PC is like there are certain games that I want to play, but I'm like, I don't know how much I like the idea of it, or I don't know how long I'm going to play it. And Xbox Game Pass is perfect for that. But yeah, like the Halo on Xbox Game Pass is pretty good. Let me see. Oh, okay. Vasco's just said that Game Pass for PC does not have Ace Combat. Okay, there's looking at it right now. There's a whole bunch. Like they have a Bard's Tale, Crusader Kings. Age of Empires. Let's see.
Are you planning on buying a new console? One of the new ones?
Not really. Like my last game console was the Xbox 360.
Mine as well.
Last new one. Yeah. Well, and like it was like I went through like several Red Rings of Death on that, and so I was like, I'm done. And so my console game is the Steam Link.
I'm pretty pissed because I had I had the gray one. The first one was demolished, and I got the gray one, and I didn't actually have it for that long. And then I got my brother bought it. I don't know, the Gears of War edition. I don't know which Gears of War.
Oh, yeah.
And I barely ever used it. I think it feels like I've maybe used it for 2 weeks and then didn't play it ever again. Same with the PS3. I had the PS3, played it maybe like in total maybe 10 hours it feels like, and then never again. So I kind of want one of the new consoles because I would like to get into gaming again, and sometimes it's just so much more casual on maybe the couch or so than here on the PC. So I kind of want it, but I don't know if it will be worth it. But it's not that much. I mean, it's $400, and if I would have something like Game Pass where I can play games, that would be actually pretty tempting.
Well, there's a couple of games that I've started playing on PC that are like old. So here I'm going to pull up just so you can see some footage of it. But essentially, it's a game that's made I like this new trend of new games being made in old game engines. So there's one called Ion Fury. Here, let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. I'm just pulling this up here.
Fury. What is that?
So it's basically a game that was made in the Duke Nukem engine, but it's a new game. It's just like a shooter, like a Blade Runner-esque sort of shooter. Here I'm going to try and find something that has some good gameplay here, so you can kind of see. It's just like an old school Duke Nukem style game. And
is it for free or indie something?
It's an indie game, an indie developer, but a lot of the people who worked on Duke Nukem are in this game. Who work on this game?
Yeah, but it doesn't cost something.
No, it does. It is. I think like without any whatchamacallits, discounts. I think it's like 30. Let me see.
Oh
wow. But it's like a pretty big and pretty well thought out game. Right now, it's actually on sale. It is currently. So it's $25 normally, but right now it's $15, so it's $10 off.
Did they have back then at this engine already up and down?
I guess, pretty much.
You really? Because I thought those games were all like just on
their
one
own engine.
Yeah. So I didn't.
I'm not sure of the individuals. Like there's this one's been a pretty good one. Then another one is and it's been pretty satisfying. Wait.
On which engine was it again? On Duke Nukem?
It's on the Duke. I forgot what the Duke Nukem engine is called. The build engine.
But
it's on the build engine.
Is it Duke Nukem 1 or 2 or
Duke Nukem 3D?
3D? Ah, okay.
Yeah. So this has the same stuff, except it's got like ambient occlusion and a couple of other modern things that are nice, and modern mouse controls. But it's pretty fun. And it kind of hit. I like the fact that people are reusing these old game engines to make.
So
new
you have
games.
this one. You have this.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have this one. There's another one, and so this one originally was supposed to be called Ion Maiden, I guess.
I don't know. I really want to get back into gaming because for like the last year or year and a half, I didn't barely played anything besides maybe when I review a gaming headset. But I really want to again.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, by the way, hey Day, good seeing you. And there's and then Vasquez is saying he's had PS1, Xbox 360, Xbox One S, and maybe go with the PS5.
That's the thing. I can't still decide because I want the Xbox for the controller. The hardware looks a little bit better, but I definitely want the PS5 for the games. The Xbox won't have the great exclusive games. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But if the PS5 comes with something like a subscription as well, which I think they also have, I definitely tend to go for the PS5 because I mean I'm still not a fan of their controller. The analog stick is in the wrong position. But yeah.
Are you not really a big one to do you not invest a whole lot in games for PC?
No. I mean I've bought 2 on the Steam sale. I'm not quite sure it was this year. So I bought Senua and I bought what did I buy? Maybe like 3 games or so. But Senua, for example, I bought it like half a year ago, still didn't even install it. I still didn't get to that.
One day saying, Game Pass on PC is legit and it makes him regretting getting a PS4. And then Webster, he's just a PC gamer. And it's one of those things where like it just depends on the titles you want. Like I would love to be able to play Last of Us.
That's the thing. Whenever I because I follow like Game Ranks and they review pretty much all games, all consoles and so. And all the games that sound pretty interesting are all PS5. I mean, for example, what is it called? The one that's also the big one for the PS5 with the woman with the red hair, which is kind of in the future, but with dinosaurs, robot dinosaurs. Super.
Oh, Chrono Trigger?
No, I don't know. It's a super popular game.
Hold on.
Or something like. I just can't remember the name.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Something like that, or Uncharted and so on. Those games are only available on the PS.
Oh yeah. Well, and like what was it? Vasquez was saying that Xbox Play Anywhere plus Game Pass plus the controller preference is big for him. Which I can get like the controller preferences. Well, by the way, did anybody in the chat?
What's controller preference?
Oh, just like I think just like likes the Xbox controller.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there. One thing I will talk about too is did you or anybody in the chat watch Linus Tech Tips video saying like, oh, the PS4 controller is the best controller because it's got the gyroscope controls, which are great, especially for PC games. But it makes me so mad that he says that when they made almost no mention of course, it wasn't Linus himself reviewing it; it was someone else who's not there anymore. But they savaged the Steam controller when its haptics and its gyroscopic controls are superior to that of the PS4s. And I don't feel like Linus Tech Tips gave the Steam controller a fair shake. And especially when he's praising the PS4 controller for the exact same things that the Steam controller did better, in my opinion.
But isn't the Steam controller the one with that doesn't have knobs?
Yeah, it has one joystick and then it has 2 touchpads. Yes.
Yeah, that's the odd point. I mean, for me, the Xbox controller is the best designed one. I mean, I still have the old 360 controller, but the new ones I think is even better. Or maybe the Elite controller, but that's the exactly right place for the analog controls. And everything feels right. But for example, on the PS5, where you have to kind of bend your finger all the way to the right to get to the analogs, it feels so off.
Well, I'm like I like the PS4 controller a lot more than the PS3 controller.
I mean, I never had the 4. I have to say I never had the 4 because I think the 4 is a little bit bigger than on the 3, and the 3 was super awkward. But it's still, the position, the left stick should be where the digital.
Oh, so you think it should be up here? Yeah, and it just kind of depends, really. I guess there's the one thing I like, the Steam controller I like for older games or games that didn't have built-in controller support. Like it's like what was it? Like a good one of those would be the old Fallout games, or before Fallout 4, or Elder Scrolls, where there wasn't a built-in like controller mode. Like in Elder Scrolls, they didn't have that until Skyrim, like in the game. So it was nice to actually be able to use those and map them. But it just depends on your preferences. Like the Steam controller was a little big for me as well. But oh, hey, Matt Tyler's in the house. Nice. Hey, Matt. He's like, I have large hands, so it doesn't matter. So it's like, I think you would be in good hands with the Steam controller then. There's the one nice thing I will say about the Steam controller as well is I don't have it on me right now, but it has the dongle, the wireless dongle you can plug in, or you can use Bluetooth. But if you use the wireless dongle, whatever computer or Steam Link you plug it into, that dongle is the one that's paired to your controller. All of your custom keybinds that you set up for all your games carry over just by plugging in the dongle, which is nice, instead of having to go and reset everything. So it's good. It's just I was a little perturbed at I was a little perturbed at Linus's video where I was like, you guys didn't give another product.
Why do you have a PS4 controller? Where are you using it on?
So this one I use for my PC. Originally I got this for my sister.
That works?
Yeah, so it'll plug in and work. You can use it as a PS4 controller, but you can also there's a program you can use that'll fool Windows into thinking it's an Xbox controller as well.
I did not know that because I have my Xbox. Does it also work wirelessly?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I finally got to work wirelessly with it too, which is nice. It doesn't want to pair with my phone for some reason, but whatever. I don't really mess with that much on my phone. As far as
that's also one thing that I've noticed on the PS3 back then, because the Xbox used wireless for the communication, but the PS3 I think still now uses Bluetooth. And for me, it always, and people told me the same thing when someone brought the PS4. He said that it always felt different on the Xbox, and he said that the PS3 has a way bigger input delay. And he said whenever he's playing coming from the PS on the Xbox, he's so much better because everything is just way more instantaneously.
Yeah, well, and it's like
I noticed that for sure. Because the first time I played on a PS4, I said, what the fuck's going on? It feels so delayed. But the one that didn't have it, the comparison didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's interesting. And so it looks like Matt is able to use on his phone. So I get, because Matt, as far as I know, I think, Matt, do you still have the G8X? LG G8X, because that one would be kind of nice to have with that second screen to flip it up, have it sitting on a table, and then you can just do that, or whatnot. There's that's pretty cool, because I've always had troubles trying to get to pair my PS4 controller to my OnePlus.
Wait, do I see this right? Horizon Zero Dawn is coming for PC.
Ooh.
That would be sweet. I mean, it's not the newest game anymore, but the game is still good. Cool.
Oh yeah. By the way, hello, Mr. Pulp Fiction.
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out too, because oh my gosh. Oh yeah,
because I like these kind of third-person adventure games like Tomb Raider and Uncharted and so on. Those I kind of like.
Oh,
if I want to play a first-person shooter, then definitely PC. So what?
There's did you ever watch the? There was like a live action Uncharted thing that they did where they had Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, I did not ever watch it. Recently I saw it again and I thought, should I? I don't know why I never watched it. I definitely should, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it seemed good. Like I've never played any of the Uncharted games. I've seen some people play them, but I've heard they're basically modern Indiana Jones. And from what I saw from Nathan Fillion's performance is great.
Yeah. I think I played Uncharted 2 or 3. I'm not quite sure. The one on the PS3, the first one. but I got stuck so early on, and I never continued playing it. But I like the style. I was just too dumb to really get somewhere.
There's a okay, so it's one of his top three games, Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't realize that there were so many sequels.
There's only two. There's Horizon Zero Dawn,
okay.
and the next one will be the big thing for the PS5. But I've heard only the very best stuff, because I think it was actually on some publications like best game, maybe at least best PS5 game or F4.
Well, it was a whatchamacallit, it's like isn't Horizon Zero Dawn like a post-apocalyptic setting? Yeah, because
it's like in the future, but they have like robot dinosaurs. It's kind of like,
that's awesome.
Future, but also super far back in time.
That's pretty cool. There's and Mr. Pulp Fiction's asking if I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5. I will probably not. I've actually I think I've made my quota of large purchases because I've ordered a new webcam that's coming in.
Which one?
Was it the Logitech C922X, because I wanted a little better low light performance for my green screen stuff, so I don't have to have a bajillion lights blaring at my face. And then I'm going to give Steph, my fiance, my old webcam, because she's needing one. And then I've ordered, I've actually, and some of the guys in the chat know, I've ordered a LG V60. And so I've got that in the case and some accessories all coming in. And how much is a V60? I'm completely out of touch. I have no idea about current prices or anything. Let me see. So the one I got off Swappa was about like $675. And okay. I'm gonna hold on to my OnePlus for a little bit, and then I'm probably gonna sell it.
I'm so out of touch with phones. I mean, I'm gonna review the new OnePlus, and I'm gonna review maybe a ZTE, but I have no comparison to anything since the OnePlus 8 that I reviewed. That it's
like the OnePlus Nord, I haven't actually, to be honest, I have not heard a whole lot. I know it's the affordable version.
Yeah, but affordable, they said it will be like less than 500, so I assume $499, which is in line with all the other Snapdragon 765 phones, because the one that I should get from ZTE is the ZT11 5G, which is also like $570, because the 5G chip seems to be very expensive, because there is also a ZTX 11 4G version that's only like $300 but has the Helio P70, so it's a lot cheaper. But the OnePlus, it doesn't seem to have anything, because they say they are taking a new approach and they are going back to the roots, and so many people are actually pretty pissed that it's pretty much just an average mid-ranger. It's the 765, a good chip, fine. It's 90 hertz AMOLED display with 1080p, a little bit smaller, but it's nothing that's not already out there, because they also say it's very close to, I think, the Realme X50. So it's pretty much that, just a little bit different. So,
I'm excited to see more Snapdragon 700 series phones in the US and see how they fit in the market here. There's by the way, Mr. Pulp Fiction was saying that you'll probably review the Zenfone 7 and maybe the ROG Phone 3.
I said that because I'm super hyped about the Zenfone 7 if it's something smaller, but it definitely has to have an AMOLED and a high refresh rate screen. If it's 90, I'm fine. And the ROG is a little bit big, but it's the same size, a little bit bigger though than the OnePlus 7. So I'm definitely gonna give those one a try. But anything else, I don't really care about. But
like on Swappa, we've seen, so like Vasco's saying he's seen like a Nokia 9 PureView for $260, and I feel like that's almost a good like impulse buy sort of thing to just test if you want to play with it.
That was such a bad phone. It was
right, like the phone around the camera was so bad, but like it's cool that like if you want to test that out. But the one thing was, I was looking on Swappa and let me check if it's still there. But somebody had, it was the ROG Phone 2 that was the non-Tencent version, which I was really surprised, because all the ones you always see are the Tencent Chinese versions.
Which phone?
And the one for the ROG Phone 2.
Oh, okay.
And it's on right now. I see one on Swappa for let's see,
the ROG 2 was pretty sweet.
Yeah, like, and Matt Tyler can definitely speak to that. He misses that phone every day.
The only thing that I'm a little bit pissed about is that it will only have a 1080p screen with that size. So if that one would have had a Quad HD display, because it has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, I would have been tempted, because it's a big phone, but the old one was absolutely usable without a case, so it wouldn't be really much bigger than my OnePlus. So that would be tempting, but with just 1080p at 6.69, that's...
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's one thing I was kind of like when I was thinking about the V60. I'm like, you know, it's going to be a lower resolution screen and not like high refresh rate. But then I looked at my phone on my OnePlus 7 Pro, and I realized, and this has happened, and I've talked about this before, but
you only use Full HD.
I left it on. Well, I left it on 60 hertz, and I forgot it was on 60 hertz.
Yeah, but here's the brutal thing. I had an MP3 player, and it wasn't a big screen. I think like 4.5 inches or so. And it had a 1080p display, and you could drop it down to 720. But going from 1080p to 720 was enormous. If you go from 1080p to quality, it's not that big, but it's still visible. But I don't want to go back. I don't know. Because I'm totally fine with the battery life. I never wanted to try.
Well, it's like, for me, I'm going to be probably using that dual screen case most of the time, and so I'm okay with having some battery savings, because it's basically like the dual screen case seems to take up about like the same amount of battery charge as running at high refresh rate. So
does the V60 come already with the screen, or do you have to buy
it? I had to buy it separately, because the version I got is the AT&T version, because there's no unlocked version in the US, and so it's the AT&T version, which they paid off, and the seller is getting it unlocked. As long as it's paid off, I should be able to go and get it unlocked anyway. But they're going to get it unlocked. The case. So I don't think you can buy the case separately right now. LG dual.
So how do you get it?
It's weird. Like, I think you can. Well, you can, like, in AT&T stores, I think, but it's weird. Like, right now they're going for like around 170. Like, it's just like around $200. So it's difficult, because I don't see.
Because Webster says 100. Well, that would be pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's about between 175 to 200, something like that. And you know, that's one thing. I'm going to try and see if I can get any sort of like a vinyl skin cup for it. Yeah, the downside with LG now is they don't really have any. Oh, it's $100 right now. Oh, okay. So, well, shoot, I should have gone to T-Mobile and just bought it, because like with T-Mobile, I think that it comes with the T-Mobile one, and I think the Verizon one both come with the dual screen case with it, but the AT&T version does not. You have to get the case separately for it with the AT&T version. But since I'm on Cricket Wireless, I wanted the AT&T version, since it has all the bands that I use. So, but it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see as to how that works and everything. So I haven't been on an LG phone since the V10. So, is there a use case for the second screen? Well, I mean, I'd say multitasking is like the big thing for me. Like,
it depends on the person. Some can make use of it, some don't have a use for it at all.
Right, and it's for me, because, like, I kind of. Sorry, go ahead. You go right. No, you go ahead.
I mean, even on my triple monitor setup, I'm pretty much a one monitor guy, and one window open. I don't know. I don't have the multitasking abilities to switch between many stuff. And on a phone, well, I just recently needed the split app option for something, but I so rarely use it, like maybe once in a month, if even at all. So I can think like that on a phone. Maybe with two screens it would be a little bit different, but usually not. I don't think so.
Well,
so
it's
what are you planning to do on it with the two?
So I'd say mainly, like, I like being able to have multiple apps like next to each other. I could do some gaming, and I guess with it on there. For me, it's more efficient use of content consumption. Like, a lot of times if I'm like watching YouTube, I like to have Reddit or Twitter up next to it and going, or I've got like when I'm driving, I'd like to have Google Maps and like my audio app going next to each other whenever I'm in there. It's really just part of it also, and also the stylus support on both screens. That's another thing too that I'm going to be excited to try.
I'm really curious to know how well actually Android handles two screens by these days. I haven't really done it.
Well, that's something that is interesting as well. Like there's, I'd say, as far as I think it'll get better once they make once Microsoft the Duo comes out and more app compatibility hits. Like I know that I think Microsoft Word and Office works on both screens now, built in. There's because in preparation for what's going to happen with the Duo. So I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. And it's one of those things where it's just like a lot of devices these days aren't as exciting to me, and I wanted to try something very different in how to use the phone and see. So, Matt Tyler saying like the Xperia 1 Mark II is great for split screen. Oh yeah, because it's like super wide. The let me see, Oppo Find X2 Pro gets used for it too, but it's weird. There's a multi-screen ability on his tablet. Yeah, and it's very much just curiosity, I think too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it. Also, I kind of like to have a headphone jack back just for plugging into my car.
Does it actually still have some quad deck or something like that?
Yeah, the V60 does. Not the Velvet, but the V60 does. Oh, and the Microsoft launcher's dual screen now. So Webster just posted this. That must be a fresh update then.
It's be so good. That?
The Microsoft launcher. I don't use it, but I might try it out on that though, because
I thought you did at some point.
Well, the way I usually use Nova, but the way that it works on the dual screen is like, so the main screen you could use Nova, but the next one's going to be LG. The LG launcher, no matter what. But if the Microsoft launcher allows it to go across both, that might be pretty interesting, and I might be willing to try out the Microsoft launcher at that point. It's pretty interesting. I'm excited just to try it out, though. I'm not super excited at the fact that the front is just a bunch of glass on the front of the thing. So I'm going to try, and I found on Reddit somebody has posted a template for like a couple of different templates for like a couple of etching machines or like vinyl cutting machines, or one that you could just do yourself. And so I'm going to do that. At some point I'm going to buy like a sheet of vinyl and just have that and just put that on the front, and then maybe be like, because my mother's an artist, a retired art teacher, and so I'm like, hey mom, you want to make some money off of LG people who don't have D-brand skins? You could just cut these and then just sell them to people on Reddit. So, it'll be interesting. I'm pretty excited about the prospect of using it. It's going to be a giant phone, but whatever. It'll be cool.
What are your thoughts on the Microsoft Duo, since somebody just mentioned it?
Yeah, I'm interested. I'll put it that way. Like, I am not sure how. Okay, actually, here, let me pull up because they've leaked out the specs actually. Microsoft.
Goran actually says that some say the V6 is a downgrade in audio quality. Okay.
Really? Well, it's probably an upgrade.
That's what I think. I mean, it's maybe a downgrade in terms of the V50, but it's still, I guess the difference is negligible.
Right. And for me, it's one of those things where
Damir doesn't miss the headphone jack on smartphones anymore, right? I never did, because I never used it in the first place, because I don't like a cable dangling from the thing that I use for anything. So I always try to use something external when I use my phone. I never liked that.
There's one thing.
Personal preference.
Well, one thing I ordered. Oh yeah, here they are. One thing I ordered to answer Goran's question. So I ended up ordering a bunch of these because on Reddit they were saying that these actually fit with the dual screen case. So what I'm going to do is for my auxiliary jack in my car and for my headphones, I'm just going to keep one of these permanently attached to my headphones. That way I can just pop it in and it'll be fine, There's then going on to the Surface side of things. So the Surface Duo, I like the idea of it. I like the idea with that. I like how LG has done it with like made it as a case. That way, like sure the gap in the screen is larger, but like at least you get the choice of how using it as a regular phone.
Yeah, you can use it as a single phone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The specs on the Duo look like
Webster says they took off Dolby. Dolby was just an equalizer app anyway, so it's not like Dolby actually improved the quality. That's such a misnomer, because I see so many people always saying, yeah, but it has Dolby Atmos or it has the Dolby software and so on. That's just an app. It's not something baked into the hardware. You can pretty much have that anywhere these days, so it doesn't matter if it has it or not.
Well, and the big thing I think from what I remember from Juan's review was like you can't play in the stock app. It can't play certain high quality file types. One thing also, like Matt Tyler was saying, like the Xperia One Mark II's headphone jack is actually pretty good too. It's not a quad DAC, but it's still pretty good. Which is nice to see.
Mr. Pulp Fiction's right. The one thing I liked about the headphone jack was the possibility to just use a microphone and use it for vlogging. This was cool, but that was a small scenario. Other than that, I would never use it. That's the one cool thing for, yeah, sure.
Well, Goran,
for vlogging, this phone was still pretty great. No, go.
Well, Goran is hypothesizing that LG is going to get rid of the headphone jack. If they did, that'd be the most foolish thing they could possibly do for their brand, I think. It's one of the few features they have that has them stick out there.
But I don't think they are selling much more phones because of that. I think the few people that like it for that, okay, yeah, but I don't think they will grab mainstream users for that reason. I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess it just depends.
Yeah. Dolby Atmos massively improves the two speakers, but that's just because it equalizes, it boosts everything. That's why it sounds better, but the actual quality isn't better. It's the same thing on the OnePlus or any other phone, because it just bumps up frequencies and it's louder, but the quality actually doesn't change at all.
There's well, with the Velvet not having the quad DAC. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm interested to see.
Yeah, but it's a mid-range phone. I get it.
Yeah, well, it's running the 700 series, isn't it? I think that's what it's running.
Yeah, the 765, but that's like a $500 phone, and
right.
The chip is super expensive, because when I just checked that the ZTX and 11 5G costs $570, which is almost the same price as a 7T, and someone mentioned it right earlier. But the problem is that you're paying like almost a premium of $200 just for the fucking 5G that I don't want at all. Because crazy. They told me to include 5G into the review. I told them no, I can't, because I don't have 5G. Yeah, but isn't it available in your region? I said yes, maybe, but I'm definitely not gonna make a contract for 5G just for the review, because I have just recently, not that long ago, switched from like 21 Mbit 4G to now 50. And it's noticeable and it's fine, but I don't need even faster internet, because I have trouble to get along with my 10 gigabytes in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm interested to see when Cricket flips the switch on for 5G, because technically they say it's going to be for like the S20 series that they're going to officially support. But I mean, it's the same technology on the V60, as long as I have the right one. So I wonder if it'll just work for mine. I'm really curious to see how it works, but I mean, it's gonna be that version where I'm not going to see it for a long time, because I'm not on the T-Mobile network, which is the one that's actually like rolled out pretty widely.
I'm still debating on that, because Matt says that the quality actually changes massively and that there's true movement detection. I still think that it's because the Atmos sounds so much better. It's because without it, to me, it almost feels like they intentionally made it sound terrible, and once you turn it on, so it feels like you got something way better. But the speaker is the speaker, and they just don't take full advantage without it. But I've had this on phones so many times. It's just a little bit of a trick more than anything else.
I mean, if you like it, more power to you. It's kind of like how
those are still small, tiny speakers on a phone, not really proper stereos. You can do whatever you want with surround and effects and everything. It's still gonna be just a small little tiny speaker. They all sound okay, but not more.
It's kind of like doing the surround on my headset, where like
I don't like surround on headsets. That's the worst thing.
See, I don't mind it too much. Like I actually just leave mine on because I feel like everything's flat
otherwise. Yeah, but everything feels so fake. There is so much reverb and echo, and the distance feels further away, and you can't really judge the distance in proper games anymore. Yeah, Mr. Far Fiction, Dolby Atmos is just an equalizer. On phones, it's nothing really else. No.
There's I'm trying to think. Like, I don't mind so much that when I have my headphones on for my computer that everything sounds like I'm in a cathedral.
See, this is a statement that makes no sense. Dolby Atmos won't drive a 600 ohm headphone. Dolby Atmos doesn't drive anything. Dolby Atmos is nothing. That's just the software on side of it. What drives the 600 ohm headphones is the amp. But those amps in those little decks that they have included in phones are super small. And I know some people say that you can with an LG phone drive a 600 ohm headphone. I can't. I've had proper decks that can't drive it. I listen louder, okay, yeah, sure. But for me, the quad deck is still, yeah, it's the best headphone jack on a phone, but it's still just a headphone jack on a phone. Not anything that comes close to a proper MP3 player or a proper external deck or something like that. And no one's going to change my mind anytime soon. I know I've seen people talk about, it can drive 600 ohms pretty easily. For me, it couldn't even drive 150.
Yeah, it's like, I don't have that big of a headphone, like hardcore headphones anyway, to run on whatever I'm going to use. There's one thing Matt Tyler was saying that the RG2 speakers were like the best. They both have their own amps, and
they were great.
And they were big inside the big resonance chamber and whatnot on the inside of the phone. So yeah, like I don't doubt it.
Looks pretty similar on the new one. The new one will have those as well.
That's going to be great. Like, I just want them to get more. I'm excited to see their third generation, and I want them to just get more mind share, especially now that Razer is out of the picture now.
Yeah, but the ROG 3 looks very, very similar to the 2. And the issue that I saw a lot of people having with the ROG phone that it didn't get any updates. So that's the issue, because I know that ASUS with the Zenfone got updates very often. But for some reason, not the ROG, which is what I don't get, because it shouldn't. Maybe it's a completely different team, but why is one so good? Because the Asus Zenfone 5 that my brother is so often and for such a long time got updates. The 6 got, and the ROG supposedly didn't get pretty much any.
It looks like I'm looking on here. It looks like after it got Android 10, it looks like it got an update on April 7th.
See, Webster, I disagree. In my opinion, the LG quad deck can't drive 600 ohms. Not for me, not even close. But I guess I listen differently, because a proper 600 ohm, and I don't know why even so many people mention always 600 ohm headphones. There are maybe like 2 or 3 mainstream headphones with 600 ohms. Those are the Beyerdynamics and what else? What else uses 600 ohm? All these newer headphones come with 30, 50, something like that. But 600 is pretty much just Beyerdynamic with their additional headphones. And those, no chance with an LG. No chance.
There's is anyone trying? Did you try out the FIO M11?
I could have, but I didn't want to, because I'm not really a fan of MP3 players, because they are something odd for me. I either want just something like this, which is a Bluetooth headphone amp, or a desktop station, but a specific MP3 player usually is pretty slow, or in this case, just too expensive for something that I know will be outdated pretty soon. Because someone told me if you buy it now and it has the performance to run, because you won't run like a browser all the time or something heavy, it's pretty much just for MP3s and so on. But he said if it can run now, it will do it in 2 years. But it's actually not the thing, because an Android phone will get sluggish over time. And with newer updates, which it won't even get. So I've seen MP3 players that are still stuck on Android 7. And I simply don't want to buy something that costs like, I think the M11 is like $800 or something like that. That is already outdated for maybe a mid-range phone now already, even though it's maybe quite fast for an MP3 player. To me, that felt well too sluggish. Yeah. Dolby feels like a volume booster, because it's not something else actually.
So looking at somebody, let's see. Oh yeah, Mr. Full Fiction was asking about if it had a refresh. So I don't think, at least I haven't seen anything about it yet.
No, on the Zenfone 7 we got no news then, other than it will come out. The ROG we have, Zenfone not yet, but if it has 90 hertz display, and yeah.
It looks like what I'm seeing right now is mostly related to chipset. So the rumor is 16 gigs of RAM, 8 Snapdragon 865, and Android 10 on it. But that's really all that I've seen. That's credible. That everything else is just kind of unconfirmed. There's
only Apple's MP3 players are great. I would disagree, but yeah, fine.
Oh man, I found my case for my old iPod Nano, like the tall Nano, and oh my god, like it's so funny. Like I will say something that small was pretty convenient to have, but oh my god, though it's crazy. It makes me think of
but I don't really see the benefit of small MP3 players these days, because just think of it, you have your phone anyways, and then you buy something like this or something like the FIO BTR5, costs like 120. It has the power. This one, for example, has the power to drive pretty solid headphones, in-ears, everything else. And this is also like something like a Nano. You can switch the music and everything else. And Bluetooth is fine quality-wise these days.
Oh,
with
yeah.
With LDAC and so on. Absolutely.
Well, if I go to the gym and I'm like, okay, I really want to have something small with me, I just take my compact with me.
Yeah, Apple is good with updates, for sure, Mr. Pulp Fiction, but just for dedicated MP3 player, I mean, yeah.
Well, and one thing, let's think about this another way too. Who are probably, what's the demographic that's most likely purchasing or using those Apple for what are they called, iPod Touches?
I don't know who still buys those, because everyone who would already has an iPhone, and
unless you're a kid. That's what I think. I think the larger use case is probably kids.
Would you buy your kid an Apple MP3 player? Usually, I see people buying a cheap MP3 player, maybe.
I guess it depends, and also the nice thing about the MP3 player is if your kids are in an area where they're on Wi-Fi, you can still message them through iMessage or whatnot. And if you're in the same ecosystem, I could see that.
But I guess in the US, I could believe it, but I don't think that anyone in Europe or most countries in Europe, someone would buy his kid an MP3 player rather than just a cheaper phone. Because Apple is not that nearly as huge in the US, in Europe as in the US.
By the way, I just wanted to say thanks for joining us, Peter Hayton. Glad to see you. There's but yeah, it's interesting. Like whenever I was working at Best Buy, of course, this was also like in the earlier part of this decade, where there was the vast majority of people. This is like around the iPhone 5 era. The vast majority of people who were getting iPod Touches it was parents for kids, and it was for parents who were already in the Apple ecosystem. But one thing I kind of do want to touch on, and I would like other people in the chat to chime in as well, is what are your thoughts on Apple getting rid of, not including the charging brick or cable in the new iPhones? I have thoughts on that. I'm really curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, okay. No, because I knew about the brick, but I didn't know about the cable.
I think that's what's happening with the cable. Like as far as what I've heard, they're not including any charging stuff in there, and it seems fairly credible. Though Matt's saying it's fake news. Yeah, it's like I hope it's fake news. I don't like the idea of that.
The funniest thing is that I read is that they will offer now a powered or a quick charger, and it's just a 20 watt. 20 watt in 2020. That is not really quick anymore these days. Anything below 30. I mean, we've seen there is like support for the new 875. The new Snapdragon should support 100 watt chargers. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, we have already 65 chargers with Oppo, so 20 seems slow. I mean, for the small battery for the iPhone, it's still fine, and they don't really. I think fast charging is way too overrated anyway. So,
right. Well, and so one thing that's like Apple is going to market this whole. If this is true, I feel that Apple is going to market this as, well, we're helping prevent e-waste, but I feel like it would be better for them to have some sort of trade-in program for their old charging bricks and cables that are frayed. But honestly, it's just they're going to market it like it's some sort of environmentally friendly move when it's just to increase profits. In my opinion, like I'm the person who I reuse all of my charging bricks that I ever get
me too,
for everything. Like wireless chargers don't usually come with the power brick; they just come with the cable.
The only issue that I have that pisses me off a little bit, because I never really used my iPad charger, because downstairs where I usually charge my iPad, I have a Xiaomi laptop charger that is pretty much just as fast, but I use that also for my laptop and so on. And therefore I took the Apple charger upstairs here, but for some reason I don't know what it is, if it's the charger itself or if it's the cable, but so many devices don't charge with this one. Nothing happens. You plug in, some do charge and some simply don't do anything. I really don't know why. I don't really get it.
Well, and like I've held on to my old LG chargers forever, but like one thing that Mr. Pulp Fiction brings up that's a good point is the rumor that USB-C iPhones will come in 2022. That makes this move, if they set the precedent that they're not going to be including any of the chargers in the box, like shows the true intent behind it. Because if they switch next year to USB-C and they already saying we're not including chargers in the box,
but he said 2022.
It's forcing people to buy them.
Wouldn't this be even a year longer?
Right. Well, here's the thing, that they're setting precedent though. So then people are going to be able to use their existing chargers for one more year. But then when it comes time to switch over, they've set the precedent that they aren't including chargers in the box, which means people will have to go and buy USB-C chargers separately. But then the downside that would be, which leads me towards the fake news side, it would be a bad business decision for them to do that, because then people would just go and buy third-party chargers.
Yeah, Bluetooth headphones are sold without charger, like Pulp Fiction, but that's always have been the case. I've never seen any MP3 player that has one. You only get the cable that is usually very short anyways, and I don't get why they even include that, because if they intend you to use a different charger, that charger is used with a cable in the first place anyways. So I don't really get why they even bother to put in that cable, because I don't know how many of those small, like this long charging cables I have that I never use with anything.
Right. Yeah, and it's I mean, it also just depends on too, and like if you have, it would be a little different. I feel like if Android manufacturer who did not have their own quick charging tech and just use Qualcomm's, it would be a little bit less, because like whenever I got my Xperia, like it didn't come with any charging thing, but it was also used. So like I could
I don't like that we lost that trend of Qualcomm Quick Charge, because back then when we had Qualcomm Quick Charge 2 and 3, it was a standard, and any phone with that on any charger would charge quickly. But if I now think I have a OnePlus, it only charges fast with that charger, and that charger doesn't charge anything else fast. So I'm out of luck in both cases. So I'm not a fan of that. I would really like to have the new standard, but everyone went to something else for I don't know what reason. Actually, it didn't make sense.
Matt Tyler makes a good point. Like Huawei chargers are like that. So like it'll charge his Huawei phone fine, but not his Xperia 1 Mark II won't charge. And that's interesting because I have OnePlus, which is very, very similar charging tech.
I know
it'll charge this, but it's just a regular
slow. Slow. Yeah, I know. And I know that I had a Huawei once that it charged super slow, and there was one Huawei charger that charges it faster, but you had to buy that one separately, and that one wouldn't charge anything else fast. So that was the beginning back then already.
Right. I will say,
I hope they want to integrate something like USB-C has, that like power delivery with 100 watts, and you have fast. And if you want to, but I would still like to actually see that more phones would offer you the option to charge also slower if you want to. Because what I did for a while, what I did is I used my old OnePlus 5T charger that just doesn't charge the OnePlus so fast, so it overnight can take a little bit longer. But I would wish for an option. Charge in 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, and anything else is fine.
Yeah, that's one thing that Matt is reaping the benefits of right now is those battery saving features for charging battery saving charging features that Sony has built in. Like I have some of that on this,
The
but
OnePlus
like
8 had this as well.
oh really? That's good.
Yeah, the OnePlus
Well,
8 got something similar. Yeah.
say what we want about LG, and we get not LG. I'm sorry, Sony. And we give Sony crap about a lot of stuff. They have a lot of battery saving features that are just like those duh features of like, why didn't we ever have this on other phones?
They need them because they use way too small batteries in their phone recently.
I mean, so yeah, and also like I just think, oh, it's so good. I will say the new Mark II has been really good though. What was it, 4,000? That I'd say that's like the minimum to use nowadays. But I'm glad to see them to go over that and like. So I do think they're taking feedback.
Yeah, I actually know someone who bought it. I'm not quite sure if he got it because he wanted to tell me what he thinks of it, because I'm not that much of a Sony fan, especially due to the odd ratio of 21:9.
Oh yeah. There's also like so apparently Samsung has an option for that sort of charging.
Yeah, maybe everyone can get it, or some, or at least integrated it this year, because I don't know how it went on Samsung on the OnePlus, but I think you could make it automatically so it learns whenever you sleep, but you could also type in manually times where you usually wanted to charge slower. I think something like that.
Yeah, that's been kind of the thing with like with one Sony had initially was with the feature I have on this old one is it'll learn when I'm sleeping and slow charge during that time, which is great. And the fact that they oh, by the way, Day has to head out. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.
Even though I have to admit that whenever a phone tells me that something is being learned over time, I never really buy it, because I never really notice it really learning something. Maybe it even happens, maybe it even works, but for some reason I never trust automation on a phone. I always want to use it manually. I don't know why.
Well, as long as the toggle's there, which is nice. I will say this one has been pretty good about it. Like it obviously it has to relearn anytime I wipe the phone, but it's been pretty good. This one is the one example where I found it's been pretty decent in how it works in terms of learning that stuff. But I love the fact that you can have it toggled, which is great. And and Matt's saying they've always had it, and Samsung just jumped on that.
Not always. I think
they've had it for several years.
They got it with the Z series, Z1, Z2, something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, I mean,
they
all intents and purposes.
They definitely were the first ones. That's for sure. At least from what I can remember.
So we can kind of switch gears here a little bit. But one thing I'm curious: have you been watching any of Mr. Mobile's when phones were fun videos? Like the old 2000s phones.
I don't really watch any tech YouTubers anymore. None.
Oh, that's a good series. I suggest. Like it's nostalgic, but there are some crazy dumb phones that like were used. Like the most recent one he did was one that had a translucent display. Like it was like $1,000 phone when it came out 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and like so it was real small, and like it had like a window up at the top, but it was basically a translucent display where you could see through it behind it, and all the text was just kind of floating there. It's a crazy tech that I've never seen before. I never knew existed.
No.
And it actually like worked on the T-Mobile Edge network when he like plugged it in, and which is crazy. But yeah, there have been some crazy ones. Like he did some Nokia phones. He did. He's doing a thing with like those old messenger phones. Like so back in the 2000s, before you had a smartphone, what type of phone were you a flip phone guy? Did you have like the messaging phones with the QWERTY keyboards? What did you use mainly?
The one that I had was the first one was a Sony, a normal candy bar, and then I got the LG K20, so a small touchscreen. And I think then I switched to the HTC Desire, to the first one, but I had no flip phones or anything, nothing special back then. But actually, since Mr. Pulp Fiction says it doesn't, Damir doesn't even like automatic screen brightness. It's not that I don't even like that. That's the one thing I hate the most. The only occasion when that's okay for me is if I'm maybe outside for a longer period of time and I have to watch something. Then I turn it on, but at no other point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, so my My mother found her old Motorola Razor so when I was in high school, I borrowed the phone, and so like, God, this is like what, 2002 to 2006. So like we borrowed that and used it. Then I had some sort of Nokia candy bar terribleness from TracFone that was like, if you made a single call and they didn't answer, it used up a minute, and you had to buy like 900 minutes or whatnot. And your text message cost a minute, and then you received a message and it cost another minute, Then we did like the flip phones, and it's interesting because in the US we kind of were behind Europe in terms of the really cool and high end feature phones back in the day. I feel like here in the US, like dumb flip phones were more popular than some of the more advanced, really interesting designs that you guys had over in Europe.
Actually, a question for you, since you just showed the XZ. Do you think that small phones are dead for good? Because I just recently got a few people telling me, oh, I wish we would still have phones like that. And I checked, and it was the smaller Samsung against the Sony from 2017 and so on. And by these days, to me, it feels like 90% of all phones are 6.4, 6.5, 6.6 inches. There's almost nothing below it besides maybe Apple, but anything else, pretty much everything is 6.5 by now on average.
I would say there is a market for it.
I get there is still a market, but I was asking if you think it will come back, because I kind of doubt it. I know that there is a persistent group of people that want it, and I would be up for something smaller as well. Maybe not 5.5, but at least 6 inches or around that. But I think those times are over.
Well, and like, so one thing, like Matt's saying, he has the Z2 and it works fine as tiny. Like with this, I think that if they had something in this form factor and the screen is like full screen.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like have the same footprint, but have the screen be bigger, I think is okay. And I think this would still count as like a compact phone just because physically it's smaller. But if the screen's bigger, I think that's okay. And I think it would still count. And it's kind of like the XZ, the XZ, or what was it? XZ2 compact was like a little narrower and taller. And some people don't call it true compact, but like I think this form factor, the bigger screen would work.
I think the XZ2 was pretty much the same size, just a little bit rounder. That one was still fine. The Xperia 10 was the first one that got elongated then. But the XZ2 was still pretty small from what I remember, because I liked it a little bit more than the XZ1 compact.
Yeah, let me pull. I'm pulling up the good old-fashioned comparison.
Yeah, S10e. That's the most recent compact phone, I would say. Yeah, what could still be called compact. Yeah, I really like that size. What size was that? 5.7, 5.3?
Something. So like, here's the XZ1 compact versus the XZ2 compact next to each other.
Put the S10e side by side just to see how much bigger that is.
Let's see.
Because I know it's bigger, but it's I think still okay. That's still okay. I really wish that we would have seen a successor to the S10e, but it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because it was. Well, I think Apple.
That was my favorite of all the S10s. The S10e. That would have been the one that I would have bought if there wouldn't have been a OnePlus 7. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, and I just wish that the fingerprint scanner was like right here instead, but
with the small size, it actually, you got used to it pretty quickly at the top. I was fine with that. Yeah. I did, because especially when I was out at work and so on, and if I had it in my pocket, then this position actually made sense for this size of phone. I at first I thought it's way too high, but then I got used to it, because what Sony did for a while was putting it way too low.
Oh, right. That was on the XZ2. It was on the back. It was too low.
Yeah, way too low.
Xperia 5. I'm curious. Okay, so the Xperia. So let's go ahead and compare to the E. S10e. Oh, fine. I gotta put it this way.
Which one is this? Xperia 5? Yeah, that was a flagship. I meant the Xperia 10, but it was similar size.
Oh yeah, like the Xperia 5 was just a slightly smaller version, like
the Xperia 1. Yeah.
Xperia 1. It's actually not that much smaller.
No. That's why I always thought, because when I asked them why they have the 5, and Sony told me it's because some people want the smaller, and I thought it's not really that much smaller.
Oh gosh, here we go. The Mega. Let's do that. Or actually,
put it side by side with the Huawei Mate 20X.
Yeah. Here, let me. Galaxy.
Which one?
It's like. Let's do the Mega 2, I guess. I don't know. That's 6.4. Hold on, Galaxy Mega, which is the bigger one.
That was 6.4 when we still at 16:9.
Let's do. Okay, yeah. So Mate 20X. This it's still smaller. Oh my god. Yeah, like I will say, like there were so many times on Swap where I almost pulled the trigger on this, but I can't.
Wait. Put the one the Black Shark 3 Pro. That one's also pretty big. I just want to know how big that is in comparison to this one. The Black Shark 3, I think it's the 3 Pro. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Pro. 3, yeah. Oh, that's even bigger. That's even bigger than the Huawei 20 Mate X. 7 point. What inch? I think it's.
Oh my god. This is the overall dimensions, rather.
What's the display size? I think it's like over 7 inches. I think.
Let me pull it up here.
Can't you just click on the title of the phone? Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I was gonna do like a side by side. So
you can actually just have 7.1.
That's insane.
It looks even bigger.
Well,
because
it
has speakers. Okay, yeah, that's speakers.
Well,
because if you
think that image,
put it side by side to the OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yeah,
I want to see how much bigger it is.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And that's already a big phone. That's already a big phone.
Oh, the Z Ultra. Okay, let's see the Z Ultra.
I mean, I wanted to review the Black Shark, but when I saw that size, I was done.
It's so wide. It's like a pad from Star Trek, where like the captain is.
Yeah,
like,
and look at those bezels. Look at those bezels. Oh my god.
Oh man, that thing is.
It was thin. Wow.
How much? That was a 6.4 inch display. Let's see, layered here. Oh yeah. Oh my god. That's ludicrous.
Is there something even bigger? I think that's pretty much the biggest, right? I mean, I know there was the Lenovo Fab. Those were big, but I don't think they were. ROG looks actually tiny compared. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about how big is the Lenovo Fab?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure which one was the biggest. I know there was a Fab, a pretty big one. The 2 Plus maybe.
Or that's the Pro.
That's even bigger. Oh my god! How? Oh my god!
You know what that looks like? It looks like a Le Echo phone. You remember Le Echo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a friend of mine is still rocking an old Le Echo he got from whenever for dirt cheap when they went under, and so he's like trying to think about what to upgrade to. He's thinking about doing the LG G8X with the dual screen, but I'm like,
take the Fab 2 Pro and put something small side by side. Like a Sony Compact or something. Something.
Wait.
Something small. Yeah, not the palm. That's too extreme. No, I meant the phone. All
right, here we go. There we go.
That's extreme.
I know, right? Well, and like how thick they are too. Like
how heavy is it?
9.14 ounces versus 5.04 ounces.
Can you click on it? I have no idea what ounces are. I need to.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So, let's see. Design. 259 grams.
Yeah, but compare that 260. I think the ROG isn't. I think the ROG 2, I think is also like 230. So it's noticeably smaller, but just as heavy.
Let's see.
That one should be very similar, I think. I think like 230 or something.
240.
And it's
still lighter.
But
though I wonder with the accessories.
No. It was pretty heavy, but I guess the Lenovo is pretty lightweight for its size then, because the even still pretty.
The Nova. Are you talking about the Nova? Oh, I'm not sure, to be honest.
What are you looking for?
Oh, I was looking for like the Nova. I thought you were mentioning a Nova.
But you can't put tablets in here, or could you? Like an 8-inch tablet.
I don't know. How about
or a Nexus 7? Yeah.
Oh no, it won't show up there. The Nexus 7 will though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like that's ludicrous. Like I still have a Nexus 7. I have both of 2012 and 2013
I still
versions.
have the old Nexus 7. Yeah, I don't know if mine still works, but I still have the one with the dimpled back. Yeah.
Here, S20 Ultra. Let's see. No, it's getting there. Let's pull it up against the here. Yeah. Ooh, it's getting there. There's and like the V60 is the one thing I'm gonna have to get used to being so tall. Because that thing is a beast.
Wow, the V60 is bigger than the S20 Ultra. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, put the OnePlus 7 Pro next to those. Next to the Samsung, yeah. Because I have no idea how big those new phones are. I've never used them.
So let me. Oh no. Okay, I'll just do this. There we go.
Oh, it's smaller.
And it's basically slightly shorter.
Yeah. But actually a little bit wider. Mm-hmm.
Not by much. Are you talking about what? Like, oh yeah, not by a whole lot, but
no, not by much. Yeah, you're right. It's just short.
Yeah, a coworker of mine just got the.
How big is the screen size of the S20 Ultra?
Let's take a look. Hardware.
Man, I'm so out of touch with phones.
Oh yeah, me
6.9. Okay, 6.9.
Now it's also going to be just because of the way the ratio.
Yeah, super tall. Yeah. I know. I get
the then this is
the OnePlus is 6.67.
Doesn't say officially on this.
For some reason, it doesn't.
Here,
as far as I know, it's 6.67. 6.67. I'm pretty sure.
Let's take a look and see. That's about 6.5. It says.
Whoa. Okay, then the 8 was. Check the 8 Pro.
Let's see.
6.78. Oh, okay. The weird thing is the OnePlus 8 Pro didn't feel any bigger than the 7.
But
it was a little bit more narrow, but it was better to hold in your hands actually.
Plus 8
I think it was actually a little bit narrower. It was taller, but a little bit narrower.
Yeah, you're right. It is
a little bit, yeah. Because you've noticed that a little bit more narrow, yeah.
Yeah, there's That's interesting.
That's why I'm interested in the Nord, because that one's like 6.5 again. So if that will be a noticeable bit smaller.
Yeah, it'll be nice because that's one reason why with the V60 I was like, okay, I'm going to go with the dual screen case because the phone's already enormous anyway.
I still think the best, most recent phone that I had in hands was still the ZTX 10. That one felt so thin, even though it had 4,000 amps of battery. That one I really liked. Was it the 10? I think it was the 10. I'm not even sure. Was it maybe the 9? Wait. No. It wasn't the ZTE. It was the I think it was not Xiaomi. What's the brand?
The Chinese brand?
Yeah. They have a great hardware, but the software wasn't good.
TCL?
It's not Xiaomi. What's another brand with Meizu? Yeah,
Meizu.
the Meizu 10 or something. Wait, 16S. 16S. That was the most beautiful. It was so small. 4,000 milliamp. I love that hardware. That was the best hardware that I've used in the last 2 years. Absolutely.
Wow, and it's only slightly bigger than the S10e.
Yeah.
And it looks like
it had no notch. It was full screen, but a little bit borders at the bottom and the top, but really small ones. But it felt so great in hand. The ergonomics were so amazing. No, wait, you have the M6S. I meant 16S. That's not the right phone. Yeah.
Let's take a look.
16, because I noticed it looked different. 16.
There's a 16XS.
There should be a 16S, or maybe just 16. Let me check. 16S.
16XS is
okay. Maybe try that one.
Oh, that's all that shows up. So I don't know.
Why is there no Meizu 16S? Wait, let me check that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe the site doesn't have it, but I know I had it, and that one was amazing. Yeah, maybe if you search on another site, but there is there is a Meizu 16. There's actually a 17 out by now. I didn't even know that.
That's crazy. That's so nuts. There's anyone who has one, how was the? I know that the battery was kind of a negative side.
It wasn't. Yeah. I think it was okay with the Snapdragon version, but the Exynos didn't really hold up. But I see the Meizu 7 has also 6.6 with 90 hertz. Yeah, but the software wasn't really good.
There's here, let's pull this up just for shits and giggles, because Mr. Pulp Fiction is making the prediction that the foldables are going to rule by 2025, as long as we've had enough iteration on hinge design and advancement in material science for the displays. I
don't know. I think by 2025, I kind of hope we are already looking maybe for the next thing, something different. I don't know. Maybe that's still too early, but I hope that phones will get into another direction, not get bigger at all. Maybe actually get smaller.
So you like the clamshell?
No, I don't know. Maybe that we won't need a big screen anymore for some reason. But I don't think that the internet is going to change that much. But I would wish for something more usable again.
Yeah, it's like I like the idea of the clamshell phones a lot.
I don't see the benefit of it, because once it's closed, it's thicker. I don't like thick phones in my pocket.
Well, and I guess
and
it just
having
depends,
to open it and so on. It doesn't feel any more convenient.
Yeah, Matt Tyler is some. Yeah. I don't think Matt Tyler is the fan of foldables right now. That's one reason why I like foldables.
No, I see it the same way. I don't get why anyone's saying, "Oh, it's the next best thing," because why do we need that? I mean, I don't see the big appeal of it.
Like I could say, like with I think there's more of a
the Galaxy Fold kind of makes sense if you want to have a tablet along with you all the time, which I don't really, but maybe okay. But all those clamshells, I don't get the point.
Yeah,
because the screen size is just as big on a normal phone, and you have a thicker phone that you have to open up, where you have like sacrifices with the hinge and everything else. I don't think that's worth the trade-off. Even if it gets better at some point, I don't think that this form factor will be better than what a current phone could be at this point once it's developed even further as well.
Well, it's like I could see like a fold being useful, like in the case of like in your car, like, opening it up and you've got a big canvas for like Google Maps or something like that.
Yeah, but newer cars already have pretty nice or way better.
I guess the ones I'm driving don't.
System. Yeah. Mine doesn't have either, but I don't really need it that much actually.
Right. Well, there's
all our batteries in 2025.
Well, and so Matt's
it's not about the batteries. I don't do it.
Well, and like he's talking about how it's fragile design, water resistance,
exactly.
And I think that's just going to take some iterative designs on there. Like I think that's one thing that's going to improve with time and with material science, like for the screens, that's going to help with that. But in terms of like the hinges and making sure everything's sealed up, I think that's just going to take practice. And I think they'll get there. The thing that I think a lot of people are excited about with foldables are just the fact that it kind of feel like the form factor craziness is kind of what it felt like back when smartphones first became popular.
To me, it feels like some people see the appeal of the foldables and all these kind of things because normal phones got a little bit plateaued. They didn't really evolve anywhere, so they think maybe that's the next big thing. But I don't think so.
And that's one reason why I'm going with the V60 is it's kind of like the happy medium, where you can kind of use your phone differently than you've ever used it before, but it's also, you don't have a ton of those compromises. Like I saw on Reddit here, and I've actually made I've ordered a couple of things here so that it'll show up. So somebody got on their V60, they got the Microsoft the Surface pen loop thing with the adhesive, and they just put it on the back so they can have their bamboo stylus there.
I mean, I'm totally on board with what J-Mode says. I'm totally on board with that.
What here, let's see.
You can read it if you want.
Here. Yeah. So it's want to see phones stop trying to innovate on form factor, mature aspects of the market. It's want to see diversity of the top end market and cater to niches. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that we've started seeing with gaming phones. It's just a different market, though. It's like I think gaming phones in China and Asia are more popular than they'd be here in the US.
Okay. No, but Mr. Pulp Fiction, because you say small batteries make foldables thinner in your pocket. Yes, but if batteries get bigger, you lose out still what you could maximize in terms of battery life on a foldable. If you compare it to a normal phone, that still has the potential to have also a smaller battery, but more of that inside. So that's why it will always be a trade-off compared to a normal phone if you go foldable for the battery life. And maybe at some point battery life won't be an issue on phones anyways, but I don't think because we are not making big improvements in terms of battery life. Those are still pretty small. So I'm not sure 2025 will be that much better, because the moment battery life will get better, they will put a lot more stuff into it that will suck up more.
Yeah, it's
because just look at it. We got better performance. We got better speakers by these days. We got better resolutions. Everything got better, but relatively, the battery life didn't nearly improve as much as the rest.
Mm-hmm. And Matt Tyler is saying it's the next best thing. That the next big real thing that we need to have is battery, just overall, just battery.
I mean, I'm personally fine with battery life. I mean, my phone, I'm not a hardcore user. It gets me through the day every time. So for some people it is, but I still know so many people, they just charge it and they don't care. And when I ask them, are you okay with the battery life? Do we have to charge it on? I don't know. I just charge it. They don't really think that much. I guess that's more of a geek thing. We check, okay, this phone has 10% better battery life. This one has 1 hour more screen time. Most normal people, when it's empty, they charge it, and they don't even think about even complaining about the battery life. They just see that what it is. It's empty. I'm gonna charge it, but they don't think, it's empty again. I have to charge it. That's what normal people do. I think we are just so out of touch with the general population that we see things in my opinion, odd way.
Well, one thing I like, so with the dual screen on the V60 and like the front is glass, and a lot of people don't like that, myself included, except I think one use case that would justify that would be kind of cool, because it's already plugged directly into the USB-C port. Is what if, because like there's a little window based strip at the top basically that has like your display, for when the thing's closed. What if the surrounding area were solar cells, like on old calculators and whatnot? That way you can just set your phone down.
That's too small. I saw once a guy that used his phone, charged it with a solar panel. The solar panel was still like this. You still need a pretty large amount. But actually, one thing that I wanted to ask: how does the second screen of the V60 actually even connect to the other one? Because I never. Yeah, but where does it plug in?
So it plugs in the USB-C port at the bottom, and then under here,
then
I'll show you. Yeah, like there's like it's like there's a magnetic adapter. It's kind of like a MagSafe adapter. Like I'll show you. So
Because I never even thought about the fact, since it didn't really bother me that much. Yeah, graphene.
Yeah.
I don't think graphene is anywhere near to mainstream.
So you can see right here, right there is like there's a little adapter that you get that you put on your cable, and it's like a MagSafe essentially. So you can actually do all the normal stuff you would with a regular USB-C port through this. So it's like pass through, but it'll also do like putting video through and whatnot as well. So, but that's basically what the dual screen case does. It'll you can't see the little plug, but it plugs into that. Then you use the adapter as like MagSafe to plug into the bottom of that.
And that okay, I don't really know. Thanks for asking, Aditya. By the way, I think it's the headphone. It feels a bit heavy the way I sit on it. Otherwise, my neck is fine. So I guess maybe the headphone feels somewhere a little bit heavier than I thought, because he said I'm moving with my neck a lot. I think I said odd, and it got a little bit tight.
Yeah, I mean, my neck has been getting super tight. Just
my neck was never good. I always had bad neck muscles. I never really trained them at all. So those are pretty deteriorated.
Yeah, well, it's like I've always would crack my neck and whatnot as well, and I've done that probably too much for my own good, So I can sympathize. There's let's see. So DT, yeah, I'm getting the dual screen case, and I've got an adapter. I ordered an adapter as well, so it should be good. I'm just gonna basically leave the adapters attached at all times to my headphones. So it should be interesting. I'm interested to compare between OnePlus and LG. I know OnePlus is gonna have a better software experience. I'm excited to go back to a screen that's flat now.
That's actually a good point. LG. Did they change their US recently? Because the last time I've used the LG was the LG. I think G7 G6 V30, something like that. So it's been a while. Yeah. So I don't know in what way they've changed.
It's basically it's very much styled after One UX from Samsung.
I don't really know that recently that either.
The last one was really?
The Note. Okay. But it's pretty similar to One UI. Yeah, that was still the same on the S10, I guess. Similar. Yeah, they changed a little bit something. So yeah, but has it the same functionality? But does it also have the same issues with the being kind of overloaded and feeling slow? I don't think so. I don't think.
I don't think the slowness, not so much.
Yeah, because LG was always okay in that regard.
Right. Well, and it's like the app drawer is terrible because it's still like you scroll sideways and it's not in any alphabetical order. But I mean,
you can sort, right?
You should be able to sort. I think you can. It's just a pain in the ass the way it works. Yeah. You have to resort it every time. Like if you download an app and it's in there, it's not going to be in alphabetical order. You have to resort it again. So it's like that part's still terrible. But from what I've seen, it seems a lot better than it was. So I'm interested to try it out. And also,
I was actually always fine with Samsung. Yeah, those are the M1060s closed. I was actually always fine with the Samsung. It was just the thing that it felt a little bit slower and heavier on its own. Oh, yeah. The G7 was the last one. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there has been some advances since then. It's interesting. I like the idea of putting a lot of stuff down towards the bottom for you to reach a little better, especially if that phone's crazy tall.
Yep.
Also, oh my God, I'm so excited to have double tap on the screen to wake and then double tap on the status bar at the top to turn off the screen. I've missed that so much from my old LG V10. That's one of those little things that I really like. I'm a perpetual scroller.
I barely ever use my app drawer. I have the few apps that I have with my Smart Desk launcher, barely even see the home screen, so I don't really use that. But I don't use that many apps, so I'm fine.
I've the majority of apps that are on my phone, honestly, are like icon packs. And so, because I just don't have the heart to remove them, and so because I'm like, who knows, with this background, this one might work better, and so I just have them in a subfolder in my app drawer. That's just app icon pack, so I don't have it just filling up every other app icon is not an icon pack.
What's actually, since I just saw it, what's actually your take on HTC? I mean, they are still releasing phones, no high-end ones, but I mean, why are they even bothering with those Desire phones that no one ever cared about?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why they want to continue to put phones out there so they still have some sort of presence. Honestly,
yeah, but do they? If you would ask me, I mean, I don't know which one was the last phone that I've reviewed from them. I don't know if it was good or bad. I don't know what they are currently out. I think there was like one Desire and something else, but I have no idea what the specs are or anything. So even though I know they are still around, not really.
Well, and they're not even making their own, as far as I know now. So honestly, I think if they wanted to stick in the market, I think they need to stick to entry level and prepaid carriers. Honestly, I think that's the only place they'll have any chance of success at this point, based off of the resources they have. If they concentrate at the entry level and maybe entry level prepaid devices, I think they have a chance, possibly. But I think anything above that, I really don't think that anyone's going to take him seriously, and I don't think they're going to move enough units to not.
Yeah, but
money.
that's so typical, and they kind of got screwed over by Google, because Google bought a big part of them, and the big part, I guess, is designing the Google, what's it called, the Pixel, the current Pixel, but they don't really. I mean, they should have just completely bankrupted them or kind of get rid of them and taken them over, but not kind of like gathered them, and then the rest just is kind of half dead, doing some stuff that no one cares about, no one really buys anyways, and they don't really have any effort into that anyway. So why not just give it up? It makes no sense to try to keep that brand alive, because that brand didn't have a saying in the market for a long time already.
Right, and it's like, and Matt Tyler has a good point where he's talking about how they try to do what Nokia did, make a flagship count on their name catching people's attention with no marketing, and I don't think that they can. I don't think they have enough mind share anymore. And so, honestly, if they go with prepaid carriers or prepaid carriers who can maybe leverage some of the advertising, I think, and just make a really good prepaid option that's just like for entry level people who can't afford to spend $200 or $300 on a phone, and have that be an option. That's kind of like a axe in the ground sort of thing. It's kind of like the Stylo is one of those.
Yeah, but the thing with the thing with the HTC mid-range phones was always that they weren't even good for the price range. I mean, I get it if a phone is cheaper and on that plane, but there were better phones at this price than the Desires or whatever they had.
Right. And I remember back in the day of working at Best Buy and selling people phones at Boost Mobile and Virgin Mobile and whatnot. HTC phones, those HTC entry level phones were some of the better ones compared to some of the other garbage that was out in the market at the time. But this was like 2013, so the market's changed pretty heavily. But like Huawei was early on, like in the US market in those prepaid, that prepaid space. And I just don't think that there's any more room for HTC now, especially with the margins they'd have to make in order to maintain profitability. Entry level, I think, is the only place that they have any room to play now. And if they think otherwise, I think they're kind of kidding themselves or a little deluded. And it's mean to say that, like in terms of it's saying that the execs at HTC are deluded, but they kind of are. When it comes to their mobile side of things, because they have no traction at all anymore. There's no traction whatsoever except for enthusiasts, and that's waning too, because it's been 3 or 4 years since they've been on a major US carrier with any phone of worth noting. And so
and even before that they had good phones, but they still didn't sell many.
Right. And like Matt Tyler is saying he would buy an HTC flagship, and I'm sure Sam would too. But it's just one of those things where the only place I think that they'll get.
Yeah, but let's talk about the fact that those two would buy one. Why? What does HTC offer that no other phone? Because if they come back now, what do you expect them to do? They would have maybe, let's see it positively. They bring up stereo speakers. Many phones have that by now. They will put a high resolution screen in with high refresh rate. Many have those by now. Camera, even if it's good, they never had the best ones, but okay, let's put that in. Everything they could do, there's not something that they could stand out with, because everyone is using the same parts these days. So that's why no phone really can stand out anymore. So why would someone go over to an HTC? For what good reason? Because the issue with HTC for a long time was that they, in comparison to their size, were always too big. The phone compared to anything else in terms of the screen was just too big and the battery was small. So even if they fix all that, there is still no good reason to go for an HTC.
And I like Matt Tyler's response here. It's because he goes through phones like most people have hot dinners. So it's like he likes to try the newest thing. Yeah, and that's fair. It's one of those things where I think HTC's big claim to fame was hardware design, like their casing is the big, and in terms their casing combined with certain choices that are now more common, but they're more, but a lot of their stuff that they did is a lot more common now, like a larger sensor size for ultra pixel, the front facing speakers. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, because the argument of Aditya just doesn't work out, because it says HTC needs to cut down costs, sell like Xiaomi minimal profits, infiltrate the market, and slowly move up to the market, appeal to enthusiasts, making customers and so on. But that HTC can't do that. A brand like Xiaomi can do that because they have the money as a backup to do that for such a long time. HTC has nearly not that kind of money to keep up. If they do this for 3 years, they are bankrupt. So they can't do that. And the customer market is these days, so it's maybe a fraction of a fraction was it was back when I was there. And when I left, it was already super small. And by these days, it's super tiny, because there is always, from generation to generation, less appeal to go for. And some still do it, obviously, and the youngers will still do it. But it's just so small, you can't catch anything with that. Even if they would kind of appeal to that market, even if they would get that market, it's such a small market that it doesn't matter. And they can't have minimal margins. And they never did that. So why would that strategy work if anything else they tried before never did? And they never had, because if they come out now in the market with cheap phones, someone would say something's not right here, because they always sold maybe not overpriced, but pricey phones, and it didn't work out. And making something more appealing by making it cheaper, I don't think the market works that way these days, not in the high-end segment.
At least in the US, I think that because outside of the US, their entry-level and budget devices, there's a better selection. But in the US, if they wanted to hit in the US, I think part of what would be to HTC's advantage would just be the lack of quality choices. Like if you're on a prepaid carrier, or if you're the prepaid option in a carrier store, you're not going to have their choice is going to be significantly more limited than what you have. And I think that could be one place that would one thing that could benefit HTC. As far as people questioning HTC going to the low end, I think that just the mind share is so low at this point that I don't think that would play as big a role, just because not as many people from remember HTC anymore who are using phones, except for us oldies, I feel like, And so it's one of those things where if the carrier could take up the advertising combined with the viewer selection, that could be an opportunity, but it's still an uphill battle.
Yeah, but also, for example, Mr. Pulp Fiction says, Google also failed with their Pixel phone Snapdragon 865 in 2020. First of all, they didn't fail, because no Pixel phone ever sold enough to have any impact on the market anyway. So you could say they failed all the time. They never really succeeded with those phones. Never maybe even really tried to. And in Europe, I don't know anyone. It's so minimal that you could say no one ever uses a Pixel in Germany or maybe in Europe, because there are so many other brands that are more popular here. And Pixels, I don't really know. I mean, I think that if you compare maybe a Huawei, a Samsung to something like a Pixel, it must be at least factor 100 or so what they sell, if not even way more, because they almost don't sell any. I don't even know why. those phones are completely overpriced. And yeah, someone said that it makes sense for them to sell cheaper because the A series sold better, and maybe they did, but I don't think even the A series sold that well. Better than the normal one for sure. And even if they release an 765 phone, there's nothing bad about it, because Pixel is anyways trying to do the same as with an iPhone. They don't try to sell specs to you. They will deliver you a great camera performance, and that's that's anything everyone cares about. And they can do this with the 765.
Well, and it's one of those things, expanding on what Matt Tyler was saying about them shifting to kind of like a more mid-range device for the main thing. That, from what I understand, the 3A sold more than the 4, and I think more than the 3. But with that also, it was the first gen product. So now more people are going to know about that now. But then it comes down to the 4A versus the 5. So, like, what's the gap going to be? Because since the 5 is going to go down towards mid range, I would expect maybe the 4A to maybe go down more towards entry level. That would make sense to me.
The only thing that I think is a little bit of a maybe not that smart move is if they don't release an 865 phone and go for a 765, it feels like a little bit of some sign of weakness. So it should have to be significantly cheaper for it to make sense. Because if it's not like $1,000, but maybe just $600-700, then it might work out. But if they think they can maybe keep it at 800, but use a way lesser chipset to kind of not lose out on that money, it just looks greedy. So if they use a 765, it should have to be noticeably cheaper. But if they release a 5A doesn't make so much sense anymore.
Well, and no XL models either, it looks like. So, like, if they're going to be a little more efficient, great. And then also, like, if they put in, like, I would be okay if they didn't do that radar thing solely or whatnot, because and just have a bigger battery. And then, you know what? Like, I think they could gain some people back if they had a headphone jack, but that's probably going to be what the A series is for. And because it's just a matter of the choices of the features that they have, especially if they're going to be hitting a lower price point. The combination of features that they have is going to determine, and with that combination of the price is going to determine the success, really, I think, because I don't think that Google can get away with just saying we have the best cameras anymore. They can't, because Apple and a bunch of other people have started catching up to them, and so it's going to be really interesting to see what they do this year, just because I'm just fascinated to see where the strategy is where the discussion is going to go, and where the shifting of strategies are going to take us in the Android space. Because we've got this with the foldables, and I'm going to see, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where we're going to need to be, because also, like, we have not really seen many Snapdragon 700 series phones in the United States, and I'm really curious to see what the experience is.
I actually just checked because I might get one soon, and there are only like 5 on the market. There aren't that many.
Yeah, and yeah, that's something I'm really excited to see how they perform, and if people are like, I don't feel like I'm compromising really, or if they're like, I feel like I am losing out on something, like you do with the 600 series a lot of times.
And Matt is asking is if Google sold more phones under the Nexus name when they had other companies making the phones. I think they did up to the last version, because those were noticeably cheaper than many other phones. You got way better value than you ever got with the Pixels. And I think the last one, I'm not quite sure what it was called, the big Pixel that HTC made, that one was already the first one that got pretty expensive.
The Nexus 6P.
I mean that actually the one before.
Well, because that was the Huawei one. Then the one before that was
the Nexus 6. I think.
The 6, then the Motorola one.
Yeah, I mean that one. I think that one's the first one that wasn't really anywhere as affordable as the other ones, and then it got way more pricey. The Nexus 6P wasn't actually that bad.
No. I think what happened with the Nexus 6 was that wasn't originally going to be a Nexus device. That was going to be a Moto device. And then they were like, "Oh shit, we got to turn this around and put a Nexus device. We'll just do this," And because I had a friend who had the Nexus 6, and that was a beast.
He had a
camera, but it was a beast.
It's actually pretty surprising that they kept the Nexus line for 6 generations. or maybe even 7, because usually they kick something way earlier.
I'm gonna pull up,
because if you would have asked me, I didn't even expect them to make more like 4 or something, but they kept it actually going on for longer. So time flies by.
So just so we can tease people, Nexus 6 was still smaller than the Z Ultra. Actually, here,
I think the 6P was also smaller than the 6, right?
I
think it was at least. It wasn't that narrow. That's for sure. Yeah, it was.
So it's actually slightly more narrow. Yeah. There's then I just want to pull up S20 Ultra. Just curious, because this is like a phone people forgotten about. Oh yeah, so the S20 Ultra is still bigger than
the 6 was wide because of the 16:9 screen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I do like, the fact that we went away from 16:9, just because I had the Mate 9, and that thing was so wide I had to have a pop socket on it.
In my opinion, they should have stopped at 18:9. 18:9 was fine, because due to the on-screen buttons you lost a little bit, and then you had 18:9 when you had your on-screen keyboard, you still had some content left. And I think the only good thing is actually, which is handy for me, I use a very big keyboard and I can still see some text if I have it fully out. But 18:9, 18.5:9 should have been the max. Anything else feels a little bit off. But 16:9, because someone told me recently in my video where I said 21:9 is stupid, changed my mind. And he said, yeah, they never should have abandoned 16:9. And I actually tell many people that I think 16:9 wasn't the perfect one, because 18:9 had some benefits over 16:9. But getting over 21 or something like that, yeah, OnePlus is already at 20:9, yeah.
Well, and I guess it depends on your use case too. Like, if you don't do a whole lot of video watching and you do a lot of like vertical reading, then I could see it being really good, like for Reddit and stuff like that. But I mean, it just depends on your use case. The thing I really do like about the ultra thin and ultra narrow and ultra tall is just the fact that it's the one thing I really love about this is it's narrow.
Yeah, but they could make an 18:9 also narrow. It just wouldn't be as high.
True.
Because I don't need a content that high.
Right. Well, and it's like, and that's one of the nice things about it, is just the fact that I like seeing different. I want to see Android and app developers be a little better at dealing with weird aspect ratios, but I really do like that idea that, and it goes back to like niche phones for certain people too. Like, some people really want that and others people don't. And that's one thing that's nice about our market. It seems like it's kind of going this way a little bit. In other ways, it's not like the keyboard phones are kind of one of those things where like TCL pulled away from BlackBerry. So apparently that experiment failed.
Is BlackBerry actually still around? I mean,
for software, yes, not for hardware.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, because they paired with TCL to do the hardware, but TCL
I know that, but they haven't announced, because the last phone has been at least like a year and a half, if not 2, right?
Yeah, it was the Key 2 or Key 2 LE. There's actually another version of the Key 2 that's being launched in Japan right now, but it's just a color variant. But yeah, they're no longer going to be like, basically BlackBerry hardware is dead again. TCL won't be making any more. They backed out of that deal, that partnership. So it's that's one case where it's like the niche phone didn't pan out. But like the gaming phones seem to be enough that these manufacturers are still willing to make them. I don't think that gaming phones are huge in North America, but I think that I think what's the biggest amount of people who are driving them are people in the Asian countries, because mobile gaming is huge there.
Mobile gaming is huge. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And like mobile gaming for me, I played Monopoly the other day. So it's like, I don't do a whole lot of mobile gaming, though I probably should do a little bit more once I have this dual screen, I guess, because it will be a less shitty of experience probably, but
yeah, but to me it also, mobile gaming didn't really evolve much anymore. I haven't heard of any big games in a long while, besides Fortnite and PUBG or something like that. And then it seems I think that most people are playing like maybe 5 big games, and there's not much outside of that anymore.
Yeah, like I've got what was it? One of the ones that I have, like I have a lot of old PC titles like Total War and like what was it, Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, like some of these older games, or Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. I like having like these older games on there that I can play because but as far as like new stuff, there's not really. Like I tried doing like Pocket City or
What's
I guess I did
Pocket
some.
What's Pocket
It's like a Sim City sort of clone. And that one actually doesn't have any microtransactions from what I understand. That was the reason why I got it. Is like you paid for it up front and then did it.
I hated that the most on the last Asphalt games in similar style, where you play and play and play and barely ever get forward unless you pay something. I hate that. I would rather like to pay. Let me pay $10-15, but then let me just play the game and let me actually progress in some way. That is something worth.
One game that I've really enjoyed a lot of, and it's on PC, and they just released it on mobile, is Gwent by CD Projekt Red. And so it's a card game that so you've heard, so it's like The Witcher. It's part of the CD Projekt Red.
I don't know that.
Yeah, so it's essentially an adaptation of a card mini game that they included in The Witcher 3, which is their game, and it's basically a cleaned up version that's good for like kind of like Hearthstone and Magic and all that, and it's pretty fun. It's free. I think it's free on here, and it's like you can buy some card packs if you want, but they aren't in your face about it by any means, like at all. And it's pretty fun. Like that's one of those few card games that I'm like, okay, I can get on board with. Plus, the cool thing too is if you sign in with your GOG.com account from both your PC, and it's the same account across both.
What's all
GOG? Of your GOG is goodoldgames.com. It's like it's the same people who sell, like they have their own launcher and stuff, but they have a policy of like their specialty is like older games and making them work for modern systems, but they also don't have any DRM on any of their titles they sell. So you could go in and download it, or you could download the offline installer and keep it on you, and then install it whenever you want. So, and they have a very, very generous return period as well. So you can play the game for a little bit of time, and if it turns out you don't like it, you can return it for a full refund. They've been so generous that they pissed off some of their publishers who have their titles on their system. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, Gwent is fun. If you're looking for a light card game that's just killing time with some fun, flashy animations, it's fun, I'd say. Music is good too. So that was like the half of the my playtime in Witcher 3. The game was playing Gwent. Finding bartenders and be like, want to play some Gwent while I'm trying to save the planet,
Something that I actually wanted to ask you, just remembered. Have you watched Dark, the Netflix series?
Dark?
Yeah.
No, I've not yet.
It's a German show. It's about time travel and such. And they just released like last week their third season and the last one. Such a great show. Such a great show.
Let me pull it up here. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like time travel, but yeah, forget anything that you ever, because they jump in so many time zones, and you always have to think about which person is which in which time, and it gets so complex, and so good. So I mean, now that all 3 seasons are out, you should just binge the whole show. It was so good, so good.
That'll be cool. That'll be something that
especially since it was a German show that had a very heavy US vibe on it, besides obviously the German actors, but the vibe, the music, the way the video, the quality of the was so good.
So I'm looking at it right now.
In English. Yeah, there is an English dub. Yeah,
there's okay. So I've got that one. I've just added that to my list here.
It's like my top 3 of the last 5 years at least. It's so good.
Ooh, okay. I'll have to pull that up then, and we'll watch that, because right now Steph and I are watching. We just finished The Office, and we're going through Parks and Recreation.
Aditya is actually asking if they did get time travel right, multiple timelines, ripple effects. I mean, they got it as right as you can get something that's just not possible. So, I mean, especially when I watch the second season, when you think further, you will notice some things that just don't work out. but you have to have some little bit of what is it, suspense of belief, or what is it called?
A suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief. You have to have it a little bit, but it makes a lot of sense, and especially they got the ending right, because for a show that jumps between so many timelines, where you think they cornered themselves, which so many, especially time travel movies did, they found a really, what should I call, satisfying solution. And sure, I think you can't make an accurate time travel movie, because time travel on its own just isn't something that works out if you think about it, due to the whole this can't work if this works and so on. But the idea, and with the amount of still being possible, so good.
Okay, yeah. Well, that'll probably be one of our next series that we watch then, because we're finishing.
It was voted the best Netflix show ever on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really? Man, that's cool, because I ended up getting burned from one of the Netflix shows I really liked.
And that's from a German show, man. That is even of a high. I mean, the first season was a little bit rough in terms of acting. The second got better, and the third one, it didn't bother me at all, because the atmosphere was so good. And I mean, this was I think this was also ever the only show that I've watched where I was constantly thinking about what could happen. What happens if this one does this in this time, this. Constantly. There was not like even a single minute where you thought, I don't have to kind of be super concentrated on, which is pretty much a fact on any show. But on this one, I mean, if you miss like 10 minutes, if you maybe go on a bathroom break and you don't stop, you will be lost. You will have any idea what's going on. It's so important.
Yeah. Then that'll be the next one we end up watching.
I bet it's better in German and dubbed in English. I actually watched the first season in English because I haven't watched German content in forever. So when I saw the German show in German, it felt off to me, because I can't watch German content. So I watched the first season in English, but when I checked the second season, I noticed that it felt off. So I watched it in German. So I don't think the US makes that great of a dubbing, but it was fine.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
I've seen definitely worse. That's for sure.
Well, I try to go through. Oh yeah, I've watched Stranger Things. Yeah, the the show, one of the first Netflix originals that I watched and I enjoyed. Sort of. Well, in hindsight, it wasn't as good as I was enthusiastic about, but it was Marco Polo. It was like one of the first. And
wait, that was exclusive? I think that wasn't that on TV first?
No. It was exclusive to Netflix.
Okay, I could have sworn it was somewhere. Okay.
They only did 2 seasons. I will say I did not like the actual main character. He wasn't super great, but the show was cool because it was like the Mongols and I like the historical period. But I like the guy who played Genghis Khan. It was Kublai Khan. I'm sorry. He was I forgot the actor's name. He's I think is he Taiwanese? Is he Chinese? I'm not sure, but he was in he's been in a bunch of stuff.
See, that's the issue for me with Stranger Things. None of the kids I like. I think all those actors, I don't like either of them. So that's why I watched the first season, I liked it, but at the second season, I don't know, all those kids are so weird, and I don't like the actors at all. So I couldn't get into season 2 again. I mean, I watched 5 or 6 episodes of season 2, and then I said, nah, I simply can't stand all those kids.
I will say season 3 got a lot better. They added a kid.
Yeah, but that's the issue.
At least one.
The show is fine, but I can't stand those actors. They are terrible. I mean, not that they are acting terrible. Their personalities I dislike. I couldn't get over that anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I hope that this next season.
It's not like a Riverdale or It mashup. No, not really. No.
Yeah. I would like to see a new season. That would be fun to see a new season with modern tech of the IT crowd. That would be fun.
The one thing that pisses me off that we don't have, I guess Netflix Germany doesn't have the rights. I can't watch The Office. It's not available here on Netflix.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I would really like to watch that.
It's good. We just finished it.
I have to try to get it somewhere.
Well, and by the end of 2020, in the start of 2021, it's going to be off of Netflix here in the United States. It's going to be on NBC's shitty ass streaming service that no one wants.
I don't like the fact that we get more and more streaming services. I don't like that. I mean, Netflix got so big and everyone wanted a piece of that. Now we have Hulu, we have Disney, we have NBC, we have HBO. And all those, the ones that I dislike the most is where we have like one channel like HBO Max. And you have to pay just for this one channel where you maybe watch like 1 or 2 shows at best. On Netflix, at least I watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But definitely not on HBO.
Well, and Matt Tyler saying like VPNs though.
I know, but I never used VPNs.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't work with Netflix anymore. Like VPNs don't. So that is tough. It's like, what was another thing too? I was listening to the Android All About Android podcast, and they were talking about also how like YouTube TV raised their price yet again. And so
they doubled it almost. I heard that they almost doubled it. Yeah, but that's a good thing. In Europe or anywhere outside the US, Google doesn't care about something like that. So we never got it in the first place.
Right. Well, and it's like the interface is really good, but it's not worth it for the price. And now it's just basically back to cable, except it's running through the internet instead of, through a cable box. So yeah, and it's one of those things where I'd like to be able, like, it would be nice if YouTube could just go, well, one, they're passing the cost on to the customer. When I'm going to be honest, YouTube and Google has enough money to eat that cost. They have enough money to eat that cost, and they just refuse to do it. And I'm sorry, but Google, just deal with it, like grow a pair and take the hit so you can actually get more people on your platform. Like the same sort of bullshit, that like arrogance that gets them, that desperate arrogance that gets them with Stadia.
Yeah, I don't know.
No one uses it.
To me, it always seems like Google has abandoned or lost interest in a product before it's even released. Because Stadia, I told people from the first moment Stadia was released so half-assed that this will maybe be a 2-year thing and then they will ditch it. And I'm pretty sure it's still on track. It's still on track to be a miserable fail, like so many.
Oh, agreed.
And I would bet on it. Well,
they have no incentives, like from interviews from game developers and publishers. They've given basically no incentives to these publishers to put their games on their platform, which and it's normal where they like Steam and Origin and Epic are very regularly will give incentives for these developers to develop for their platforms and release on their platforms. But Google doesn't, and it seems like they do it just because they think that their name will be enough. The name of Google will be enough to get people to want to be on their platform, when that's not the case. And Google is I feel like Google is Google stop. Sorry, my home went off. Hey Google, stop.
That happened to me today. Someone said something with Alexa in the name, and it was and she answered me something about a location in Germany that made no sense at all with what actually was said.
Right. Yeah, it's like I don't get it, that with Google stuff. I will say, sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to make Tyler's home Mac set up.
What I would wish for finally, that those personal assistants like Echo and Google, they get a little bit more aware of which room you are in. Because, for example, I have this one thing where I turn on one light in my living room, or maybe my deck for my stereo. And whenever she doesn't get it, she asks me for one specific device that is not the one that is in this room. So it makes no sense. So she should know. I mean, I kind of get it. Sometimes you want to turn on something that's not in this room, but usually if it's in this room and if it's this, they should learn. Usually at this place, he wants to turn on this, but not ask me something completely different.
Well, one thing I've noticed is, at least on my OnePlus, I've had issues where because I have my Google Home in my office.
I don't use Google Home.
I only have it because I got it for free from Spotify.
Yeah, me.
Because
Yeah, my brother has
in the other
one,
two room,
and he got I think 1 or 2 also for free, but something. Those are still in the box. Never opened them. I mean, I have one from Sony that uses the Google, but I never used it because I mean, so Alexa does what it should, and it's good.
Well, and in like Google in the Google Homes are really good for like information if you need to cast something to your Chromecast and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of smart home
it's
reliability, it's Echo is the best. Like I get like on my phone, I'll say like, "Hey G, turn on the office lights," and it'll do it. And then my phone, because it'll detect it on my phone, but it'll like play, usually like respond on like the home that I'm in there. But on my phone, it'll be like, this room doesn't exist. You could set it up in the Google Home app, even though it turned on the lights and it's in there. It still has these issues when I've never had any problems with the Echo.
What I also don't like with Google is that it always gives you a feedback if it did something. It says, turn on this and this light. I've turned on this light. Where Alexa just makes boop, and it's good if you have the short mode on. So that's something very annoying. Aditya, no, it's not Infinity Stones. That's just like a piece of glass that has like water droplets, and then there's light behind it. It's not anything else than that.
Damn. Well, that's a good looking background, I will say.
I sometimes just download some and put them all in one folder, and they just rotate all the time.
Yeah, there's it was lately I forgot what it was. For a long time I was running the old Windows XP wallpaper on my desktop. But
I actually like the fact that at least my HTPC does it. I don't know why all the other ones don't do that. Whenever I'm in the login screen, there is always a new wallpaper every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just there, and I don't really live much in the home screen or in the lock screen, but it's nice because for a long time it didn't do that. It's okay.
Yeah, I really like that. I like it had more information about where this was taken. There's so Matt's looking for a new pair with a good mic for his headphones. I would say if you're looking for a good mic, one with a headset with a good mic, don't get mine. Mine sounds like poop, but I mean, there are some good ones out like there. What was it? Are you looking to have it work on mobile and your computer? Because with these actually do work on mobile. You have to have them charged, but there's a headphone jack down there, and it comes with one, and you can plug it in, turn it on, and plug it into.
I hate the fact that so many new wireless headsets don't have the 3.5 jack anymore if you want to use it wired. I hate that. But the first time I had one, I said, okay, let me check how good the quality is on jack. And I checked, there is no jack. I mean, it can't be a big thing or more expensive to put that in. I hate that fact. If you go wireless, give me an option for a cable, especially if the battery might be maybe empty or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And that's one reason why I was like, ooh, these look good, because my other ones didn't have the headphone jack on them, and I probably will almost never use this on my phone, but it's nice that I do have the option in case. So actually, let me try and this thing has been charging really slowly because I think I have it plugged into a different dock there. There we go. That'll charge a little better now. So but yeah, so I think that's most of the stuff that we've had really coming up. This episode just breezed by. This is great. This is a lot. We had so much to talk about.
I called them so much on phones. I just noticed how off I was.
Well, and it's kind of fun, kind of going back up to Periscope.
Yeah, every once in a while, yeah, for sure. Especially those LG phones. I know that Juan likes them a lot and TK, but I mean, in Germany, I don't know if we will even get a V60 or anything. I have no idea. Let me actually check if they will get it, because I know that we got the last ones, but like super late. Okay, it's listed, but with no price at all. So I don't think so. So no, I don't think so.
By the way, so Matt Tyler was saying.
I don't know why. Sorry, go ahead. I don't know why they kind of killed off LG in Germany. I don't get it.
I don't know either. Yeah, it's weird and funky. Like they kind of did a similar thing in the UK. So Matt Tyler, he's mainly wanting to use his headset that he wants to get for the across the pondcast that he's using. So it's with a better headset and a good mic, and he has done it on mobile as well as on his laptop.
But if he wants to use it for the podcast, I would really get an external microphone. I mean, if you would show people like the way yours sound in comparison to your external ones, show them. I mean, those differences are. If you hear that, you will lose interest in a headset microphone, even the best one.
So like here's with my snowball, wop-a-dop-a-doop-bop.
And then here is with my terrible with this headset. This sounds like utter garbage. It is like I was surprised at how terrible this is. I think this is a.
But explain one thing to me. Explain one. Why does it get you all the sounds from the PC without a delay and everything in top quality, but here it sounds like a telephone from like 20 years ago? Why? It can't be so much harder to transfer the sound in the other direction. It can't be.
Right. Honestly, it's probably just the mic that they're using is just this is the one place that they cheaped out on it. Like I think they went more for audio.
Brand, but it feels like every brand cheaps out on the mic. I don't get why. I mean, it can't be that hard to make a good wireless microphone, and yet there are maybe like one or two headsets out there on the market. I mean, I'm interested if I eventually get the Corsair Virtuoso, which should have a solid one, but they are so far away from a wired one. But even wired headsets have pretty bad headsets usually.
Well, and if you're gonna now, and Matt, if you're gonna be using it for just on your computer, the SteelSeries Arctis 7 seem pretty good. A couple of my friends have those, and they sound
I did not like that so much.
Okay, you didn't like those?
I don't know that. I don't remember the headset anymore. I just didn't like the headset so much.
Okay.
The mic, I don't remember.
The mic sounds better than this piece of garbage. Is mic, but I mean, like, good God, like me recording a donkey farting sounds better than this mic. And but like, so it really just depends. I would say it just depends on if you want to be able to hook it up to your phone too. That's the one thing I feel like is different in terms of like which headsets you should be considering, mic aside. So with a headphone jack built in. Yeah. Another thing I guess you could do too, though it's a little more expensive, is to do like a Mic Me if you wanted like,
if you just want a wired one, the Cooler Master MH751, it costs like $70-$80. That one is supposed to should have a really good microphone from what I've heard. So that would be a pretty good option. Or I know one that has a lot of very good microphones from Lioncast. The headset itself isn't the best, but they have pretty good microphones. The Lioncasts, even the cheap one, even the I think L20 or something like that.
Let's see. So right here, we've got the Cooler Master.
Yeah, that's the Cooler Master. That's supposed to have a really good mic, from what I've heard.
And it does have the headphone jack.
Yeah, it has. That's a typical wired one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I heard that one is supposed to be the best by far at around 100 or up to 100.
And then
I don't know how often I recommended this without ever having heard it myself.
Yeah, so it's like it seems to be pretty good value. So that might be a good option for you.
I've heard just the best about that one.
There we go. Yeah, so I just say just be gentle with them a little bit too, just like you would want to be with any headset that you have. Like I'm going to be gentle with these because these are kind of creaky.
Yeah, but especially for a podcast, I mean, you can get pretty good USB mics already, pretty cheap.
Oh, okay. So he uses his phones. So yeah, he definitely want to be able to have it in there. Because what was it? One of the other days, one of the other streams, he was streaming from his G8X. And had like the dual screen up, so it's like, and it was a really good experience streaming from that too. From when I was watching the show, so yeah. Also, it's one thing you want to if anybody's interested to definitely check out their Across the Pondcast today in about 3.5 hours. Bless you. And and so like they're gonna have a really good show then, and they have Josh Vergara is gonna be on the show.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They had Painfully Honest Tech last time, which was a lot of fun. He's using a Turtle Beach Recon 50 is what he's currently using. Check that out on there. What new content do you have coming up right now? New gadgets new videos you got coming out?
I'm actually trying to kind of get rid of everything so I can get a little bit of a break. So I still have like 2 mics. I have like 2 speakers, an amp, still the GoPro, and another action cam. But I hope maybe a month I'll get rid of everything. So because I want a break of at least a month. So I've even said some people already that they shouldn't send me anything because
By the way, I was wrong. It's Zach Talks Text tonight, and then Josh Vergara on the 19th of July. So I was egg and my face were in alignment. But yeah, I'm excited to see some more of your stuff that comes out. Like even though I don't speak German, I love seeing the new stuff that you're reviewing, especially like branching out. And as you've been branching out, I've been going and looking at that the different like different stuff that you've been reviewing just to see for myself, because it's a lot of the stuff that you're reviewing is stuff that I don't normally see in my cycle of tech stuff that I'm looking at, and it's great seeing that stuff, and I like seeing a lot of the especially the audio stuff that you're doing on there. So yeah, it's so much fun. We're just kind of, I think now is about as good a time as any to kind of wind things down. And are you doing a German stream here, or did you end up doing that?
No, not today. I had one last week. I don't want to do this too often because, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I need to get up and stretch, or else I'm just going to be I'll be a naughty mess.
I have this stupid tendency whenever I edit a video, or when I'm here at the PC, for some reason I have my knees always like folded inwards, and when I do this for like an hour or 2, I can barely stand up because they got so odd. Or the worst thing is when I record a video, because on that chair I have to sit like that. It just doesn't go any other way when I sit up straight. And if it doesn't work well in some videos where I have to try it over and over again and so on, I get such a pain in the knees. I know it's not ergonomic, but I should change something. I don't know why, but I don't really know how I should sit differently. I don't know.
Well, and I almost grabbed. So we went to work, and at work I have like a bouncy chair. It's like a chair with like a spring, and I do that. And I almost used that one for this stream, but I'm like, I don't know if I could do that for 2.5 hours, even though I do it for 8 hours when I'm at work.
Yeah, that especially since I use the other chair where I don't have a backrest or something, whatever it's called, where I have nothing, so I automatically sit a little bit more straightforward for a video. And I've tried to use that for 1 or 2 videos where we're longer, like for a podcast or so on. And I thought I would die. My knees and everything was completely demolished.
Oh yeah, or my core, but I guess that's good for me in terms of my core. But I bounce too much. I have ADD, so I'll just bounce on it, and it'll just make.
Yeah, I've noticed that in
the
chair.
background.
What I do this a lot on is like rocking it around or something up. And someone even in my live stream told me if I could stop that, it's so annoying. But I don't even realize doing it. But I know I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's whatever works, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you everyone for hopping in the chat and joining us. This has been a blast. Thank you, Damir, for joining us again and having a great time. This is just so much damn fun. I'm just so glad that we got to do this again here, especially because I wanted to make sure we did it this weekend, because I'm going to be not available next weekend. I'm going to be down in like southern Missouri, where it's basically 1865 down there. So and the internet is like I have to literally take a 4-wheeler up to the top of the hill to get internet connectivity. I call it going to periscope depth, So it's I figured it'd be at some point it'd be nice to go and to do a stream from the top of that hill, But also last thing, this background is from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Mystery Science Theater. I've heard that, but I don't think that's a show that we had here. I think
it's on Netflix. But it was also in the 90s. It was like where they watch old bad B movies and make fun of them.
Yeah. No, that's why I remember it, because I heard some people talking about it just, I think, this week. Yeah. It was this premiere.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I figured that'd be a fun one this time. So, but yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you guys. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. And and make sure you guys tune in to Across the Podcast here in about a little over 3 hours. So, we'll end that and we'll catch you guys later.
Okay, cool.
See ya.
Bye.